Everybody,
Hey.
welcome in. We are the NAT30s, and this is the Bums of Greenest New Tyranny of Dragons. We are continuing along with our story. We are down another player.
No!
But that's D&D, and so we're just gonna keep on rolling and continue with the story. But Avadon will return within a few weeks, hopefully. Fingers crossed.
Before or after Tiamat kills us?
I don't know. Let's see. So, welcome in. Thank you for the follow. It was Star You Born. So, welcome. Thank you for hanging out.
Star You Born?
Star You Born. At least that's how I'm pronouncing it. Yeah.
Like the Pokemon Star You?
Or
maybe.
Starry. Nope, it looks like Star You Born. Yeah. So, welcome in. Thank you for hanging out with us.
that a Lady Gaga
Let's see. I am
reference?
going to... I was thinking of doing a giveaway today, so actually I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to start this giveaway, because we haven't done one during a live stream in a little bit. And you will type !ticket to enter into the giveaway for today. Let me get the intro in place, and let me turn on the giveaway, actually. Create and start. So I pre-did it.
Inner sleep max.
The other thing, my normal announcements, actually let me make sure there's no annoying timers up. Nope, we are good. I'll turn this annoying timer on. Alright, so you can interact with our stream while we are playing. You can do so with your sub, gifted, or prime. Gifted, prime, or direct sub subscriptions. Twitch. If you give a tier 1, it gives 1d4 inspiration. Tier 2 is like 1d8, I think, and tier 3 is 1d12 inspiration for our players. In addition, you can also use your channel points to give some extras to the players throughout the game. You can check those out. There's a variety there, and you can feed Lenny, or you can get her to throw a little extra damage during a fight. You can boost initiative for the players. You can do a bunch of stuff, or you can actually impact the world that we're building on the side, and name a star, or name a city, or something like that. So, you can also utilize your channel points to enter into the monthly giveaway, which is a beautiful set of handmade artisanal dice by our friends at Almost Critical. The winner gets a beautiful set of dice, which you'll see underneath me. I don't think we have the August dice pictures yet, but we will. And then also on the table here, if one of the players wouldn't mind holding up one of the beautiful dice trays with the NAT30s logo engraved on it. This is something
Very nice. I do prefer the darker one, to be completely honest. But
oh yeah, they're beautifully made.
But even the light ones are awesome.
They make a great sound when you throw
Oh,
them.
They
So if you win during our monthly raffle, basically, so enter as many times as you'd like using your channel points. You can come to our Discord and chat and level up, and that gives you points. Or you can become a patron, and you get automatic entries equal to the level of patronage that you have given to us. All of the patrons, like I said, automatically entered. Everything goes back into the stream. It allows for us to do these giveaways. It has allowed for our setup. If you go back onto our YouTube VODs and check out how we started and where we're at now, it is a huge difference.
start at the bottom.
Now we're here.
Yeah.
And it's in part thanks to our patrons and everybody contributing.
The
Let's-
NAT30, what is it? The NAT30s is funded by viewers like you.
Yes. And our tiers start at $250 a month. As we're building out our world, you will also get some sneak peeks. And once we get into the new campaign, which is probably in a couple months, I'm thinking October-ish is when we'll wrap this one up, if timing and life allows. And I probably jinxed us by saying it out loud. But you'll start to get little extras. Right now we're doing a module that is
SeaHall.
Wizards of the Coast. I can't really give you all those many extras because you could just go and look it up yourself. But for homebrew stuff, sky's the limit. We'll just have all kinds of extra things for you. And then a merch update.
Merge update.
Mine.
Line. We need another Timmy. this end of the month, there was just a sale, and I think it ended last night. We didn't even really push it because we were busy, and I don't want to push it every single time, so we'll let you know when there's another one. But you don't need to wait for sales if you are a patron, because you have access to the special code that you punch in anytime and every time that gets you 30% off.
Yep. Irregardless of the sales.
Yes.
What else do we have? I think that might be it. Just a reminder, if you are not able to watch, I am very badly editing this into a podcast version. I am not an editor by any means. This is my disclaimer. Sorry in advance for those of you listening and you're like, this sounds horrible. It's because I did it. I work at a bank. So
You know how bad the audio is at best.
If we get to a certain amount of patrons, I think it was like $200 a month. So we're halfway there. We might be able to actually pay somebody who knows what they're doing to edit our podcast. But in a general sense, we do have the podcast version available if you're not able to watch, and you can still enter into the giveaway on the Discord and whatnot.
YouTube,
So.
right?
Oh yeah, and it's up on YouTube. If you can't watch it in real time, about a week later, I put it up on YouTube, or our patrons get access within 2 days. So. All right, Star You Born. That's their D&D character. So
Cool.
I pronounced it.
Oh,
right.
cool.
So awesome. Hopefully you enjoy, and we are gonna run our intro and then get back to our story.
I thought it was Star You like the Pokemon.
Mm-hmm.
I remember in the show they always go, huh! For some reason, that was the noise they made. They didn't say their own name.
Well, that is now the noise that Star You Born's D&D character makes. Canon.
Just like Link, just.
They don't talk.
Hey, Cheese Cat, we're running the intro. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for coming.
Yeah, I think she's gonna be. Or something. I feel like we had a lot.
We need a regular podcast.
Faces.
We need a regular podcast where we all just talk shit like that.
Star You Born says that they already make that noise, by the way.
No, there you go.
Nice.
So, all right. So when we last left off, Bums of Greenest had arrived in the City of Splendors after obtaining the Blue Dragon Mask in the Tower of a Missing Mage. You were debriefed by Ramalia Haventree, Harper representative and widow of a recently murdered masked lord of Waterdeep, on the current state of the port city of SeaHall, after news of your successful defeat of the Blue Worm Speaker rippled through the cult. The city was locked down in a way. An anti-magic ward of sorts appears to have sprung up along the perimeter of the settlement, and the council and its spies have found themselves unable to obtain quick and reliable information through magical means. With the metallic dragons ready to raise the city, you have been tasked with entering SeaHall and taking care of the threat Peter and his council, Thalen, have cultivated. If you are unsuccessful, Protanther the Gold is standing by. The council provided you with platinum and potions as a thank you for your hard work and your decision not to hand over Xanthal's tower to the Zentarum. A day of shopping and component gathering also included tough conversations about trust and family, but your bonds are stronger for it. And so, instructed to leave under the cover of darkness, we join the bums as you are entering the area reserved for the departure and arrival of the Griffin Riders. Avadon brings up the rear, uncharacteristically silent, up to now. So as you were walking across the, it's almost like a raised platform, but open, so that the Griffin Riders can land and take off. You all see, when you look up into the sky, it's a bit of a colder night, and you can see that the clouds off in the distance are kind of rolling in. And as you approach the 4 or 5 griffins that are set up ready for you to go, one of the Griffin Riders looks up and is like, "This is gonna suck, but it's good." You can hear them kind of talking to each other, yelling to each other a little bit across the courtyard area, or the landing pad area. Like, it's good to take off in weather like this. At least to, under the cover of darkness here. And as you are approaching, Zan, with your passive perception, that is super high, and Arwell, actually, the two of you just kind of notice that Avadon...
What's your passive?
14.
14.
Oh, that's 10.
That was one.
I don't have any perception.
You,
I'm missing an eye.
It just worked perfectly, yes.
You notice that that Avadon has stopped. Like, she's no longer walking alongside you. You kind of do that thing where you're like, you stop and turn, and she's just kind of standing there looking really sad. Like, and she's just kind of looks at you all and then looks down at the ground. And as you all stop and turn to look at her, she's like, "So, this is... I didn't really want to say this earlier, but I don't think it's a really good idea that I go with you. I think that it would be better if I stay back with the anti-magic field that's on there. I mean, I can't really do anything anyway, and I got this new whip." She's like, "I got this new whip, and I think, someone here at the castle said that they would help me to learn it, and then maybe, I think I just would be better if I stayed back and I do some research on how we can kill the Dragon Queen."
What did you say to her last night?
No, listen, it's just that I really think that the only thing I can do is magic, and I'm a really powerful sorceress. But when it comes to fighting, I think I'll get in the way, and I might get hurt, and then you're gonna have to use your spells to save me, and I just think, I think it just is better if I stay back and I don't go with you.
You're not obligated to, and if you think you're going to be best applied here, sure. I can't ask you to do something that you're not willing or able to do.
I mean, I'm definitely willing to do it. It's just that if I go, all I do is magic, and they say there's no magic. It's not that I'm not willing to go.
I didn't mean it offensively. I just meant if you feel that you can't, for one reason or another, that's your right.
It's good that we would be represented here.
Yes.
Is Charlie going to be okay without me?
I think he'll manage, and I'm glad you're going to stay because I want you to be safe. But I'm going to miss you while we're gone.
I'll miss you too. And Charlie. She comes up. She's like, "Can I see him?" As she's looking up at you.
Arwell takes Charlie out and holds.
"Sorry, Charlie. But you be safe."
Charlie nods.
She gives you a hug.
Arwell's gonna lean down and whisper in her ear, Can I take your bone flute?
She's looking at it. She's like, yeah, I think that's okay because I'm going to be practicing the whip.
Yeah.
And I know they kind of go together, but maybe I'll get really good at this one and then come back and here you go.
Thanks. When I miss you, I can just play on the bone flute a little and maybe it'll remind me of you and our friendship.
Oh.
Thanks, Avadon. Be safe.
You guys be safe. I'm going to be here in the castle.
Study hard.
I will. She runs over to you, gives you a big hug, wraps her tail around. You can trust me.
I know.
I'm going to learn a lot.
Be safe.
Val hands her the trail mix bag. He goes, for luck.
Well, thank you.
And pulls out another one.
She gives you a hug. Then she goes over to you, Zan. Gives you a hug.
Good luck with that whip.
I'll show you when you get back. I'm going to be so good at it. Even if you're only gone for a day, I'm going to be so good at it when you get back.
I have no doubt.
What was our audio not syncing up with the video?
Oh, I don't know.
I guess.
Let me close this.
Wouldn't be one of our streams if. Yeah.
Val is so emo. He only notices the sorrow in his soul. What did I say?
So she just kind of stands there, and you guys just continue on. It's starting to get colder, and she wraps up a little bit. But as you are approaching where the griffins are, just getting a little bit closer, you see the 4 griffin riders that will be taking you along, and then the griffins that they will be basically steering for you, essentially.
Is the 5th guy just sitting over there kind of sad now that he doesn't
Well,
have a
they
job today?
they kind of look and see that only one. And he's he actually walks over to one of the other ones, psh, high five, kind of waits to see if it's true that he's not going to be going. But you head over to the griffins, and the riders look at you so only one dropping off, or still on?
Still in 4.
All right, well, we got a Nutcracker here, and the human woman guard just slaps on the griffin. Don't mess with her. She got her name for a reason. We got Posey over there, and there's another one that's actually larger than the one that's larger than Nutcracker. That one down there is Killer, and there's a little dwarf that is the guard with that one.
Oh, I
and
thought
then
it was a dwarf.
Dwarf
griffin.
griffin. No.
like a little Shetland pony type size. Because Avadon would change your mind. She'd be like, no, I won't go that one.
It's like that runt rhino in Jumanji. He stampedes
and then there's Paul right there. And so you can choose which griffin you'd like.
We'll take Paul.
Val's gonna offer some trail mix to Killer.
I don't care. He's still, in my mind, he's still tiny. He's still tiny. He's half the size of all the other ones.
Zan, would you feel better if I went on Nutcracker?
Whichever you prefer.
I think that's fine.
All right, well, we got, looks like Jezebel's not going to be here tonight. That's fine. So the guard that was, or the rider that was supposed to do it, he's just takes Jezebel, and you see the other guards or riders just kind of look at him. One of them's he goes back. And the rider looks at you all. This isn't gonna be fun tonight. We're going up into a storm. Points up, and again you can see that there's a snowstorm coming.
We're on the back of a dragon during a storm. This can't be any worse.
Well, dragons probably bigger and steer better in storms, so it might be. I'm just saying, I've never ridden on one, but sometimes bigger is better.
It's like a cruise ship versus a dinghy.
We have full faith in your abilities.
Thanks. Yeah. Thanks. So go ahead.
Thanks. We're all gonna die. Thanks.
We were told to head straight there. What's going to end up happening is probably tomorrow at some point we're going to switch off with another group. You'll get another group of riders and keep going until we hit, well, not us. You're going to be switching off the riders too, until we hit your destination. So,
And how many days is that gonna be?
if all goes well, we're looking at, if we leave now, probably morning on the 3rd day. All right, let's start getting ready. And then as they turn, they're like, oh, hold on. Points to behind you, and you can see a guard is like, like coming back up. One of the castle guards in like the regalia with, you know, all the flourish and stuff is just like running up, and you can hear the like jangling of the scale armor as they're going. And they get up to you all, like, message for you, sirs.
Zan will take.
And it's actually a package. So there's a small package that's wrapped up in some parchment. And Avadon is still there, like standing on the side. She was going to see you off. And she starts kind of walking over to you all as you have the parchment there. Opening it, you see a letter that is folded up and in a box where when you open it, there is a very interesting looking floral crown, or a crown of flowers, not like a metal crown that's all floral looking, like an actual flower crown. And when you open up the letter, you can see I would say Zan and probably Aaric, but definitely Zan, recognize immediately the handwriting of one Erdnot Brewbottle.
Oh shit.
And as you read it, you feel like you can hear the voice.
It's not that voice.
It's not that voice. That's when you open up the floral thing. Of Erdnot reading the letter to you out loud, as if he were standing right beside you.
Are you daft, boy?
And this is what you hear.
Bums, I hope this letter finds you well. An update since we last parted ways. As you may know by now, our mission was a failure, and yet a bit of a success. Micaiah and I arrived in Atland, in the Misty Forest. Bedonia and her band, named Anna's Revenge, had left from there, but had not been heard from since. While trying to learn of their whereabouts, Galen, the leader of this town, was acting rather suspicious. We trailed him to a part of the wood that appeared to be a landing area for dragons. After we confronted him, he confessed to making a deal with the green worm speaker, Naren Vane, the son of the Elf King, and the green dragon that he rode. In exchange for keeping the town safe from raids, he would provide them with information. He pointed us to the direction of the dragon's lair. Along the way, we encountered a dryad and several tree folk. We ended up lending a hand to these tree folk, and in return they gave us a gift. It was a crown of thorns that makes one visible to the green dragon. I have enclosed it in a package for you. I hope you'll be able to use it when the time is necessary. After several days, we found the beast's lair. Signs of battle visible all around. The remains of kobolds and spiders littered the ground. The sound of battle could be heard from within. The foul beast exited the cave, toppling Micaiah and myself over, and into the skies it took. We were unfortunately too late. Within we found a bloody scene, and what remained of Anna's revenge. Several of the party lay dead, including Bedonia and her sister among them. With quick thinking and great skill, Micaiah was able to resurrect Bedonia. Afterwards, young Bedonia chose to take her sister's body back home. There she will be judged, and they will determine if she shall be granted resurrection. When debriefing the Emerald Enclave back at Atland, We met with King Melanrock himself and his oldest son, Alagaeth. We spoke about what had happened in the Dragon's Lair and what had transpired with his youngest son, the Web Speaker. By the time you received this, he should have quickly returned to the council, his resolve more aligned to our cause. He granted us quick passage from that place. As his mages came toward us, Kaya and myself, we looked at each other's eyes and expected to be returned to you all. Instead, now I find myself in the most peculiar of places. My own. My true home. With my clan and kin. Ratha sits here in this very room with me now, as do my grandchildren and my new great-grandchild. I know not where Micaiah ended up if she did not return to you, but I trust it is somewhere she wants to be. Somewhere she needs to be. I, for one, take this as a sign from the Soul Forger himself. Fate has led me back to the beginning. There is unfinished business I must attend to. I feel the end of my long quest is reaching its zenith. In the morning I set out to meet my destiny. Should I fall, do not mourn me. I died as any dwarf would want to die. In battle, with honor, doing one's duty. Of all the creatures I have encountered in my journeys, I have never forged a greater bond than the one I forged with you. I am honored to call you all friend. Zan, you shall be a wise man. I can see that clearly. May you find your peace. Aaric, boy, I apologize I will not be there to fight alongside you when you finally return to SeaHall. I shall do everything in my power to make it up to you, in this life or the next. May you find justice. Avadon, you are the hardest child I ever raised. It warms my soul that you found your family. May you find happiness with them. You are all welcome here with my clan. Anytime. Dratha and I owe you an unpayable debt. Should I survive, I am still committed to the cause of stopping Tiamat. I have gathered the clans. I have told them of the danger. I shall meet you on the field of battle when the end comes. Till we meet again, my friends, with honor and respect. Heard not, Brewwater.
Well done, buddy. Nice.
I had to really struggle to remember how to do that voice.
Yeah, it all came out well.
Yes, and so
It's
Avadon
a crown
has
of
a little-
flowers, not
a little-
thorns, apparently.
no, it is not thorns.
He got hit in the head by a dragon.
Avadon has little tears that kind of go down her cheeks as you read out the letter. You stand there in the cold. The guards, the riders, just kind of standing there, like as you shared the letter with each other, just waiting.
I miss the old man.
Aye. At least he's where he thinks he belongs.
He is where he belongs.
We should get going.
Indeed. He's going to give Avadon one last big hug.
Avadon hugs
You're
back.
welcome for that.
Thanks, Uncle Ed.
And give a big hug. And just like that extra like second, you know?
Mm.
And then he'll step back, nod, and he'll walk over to the Griffins.
As you do that, Avadon's gonna look and be like, so who's gonna, are you gonna keep the crown with you, or do you want me to,
Well, I thought it would look great on.
hold
On
on
my
to
head.
it?
You don't think it would look pretty on me?
I'm sure it would look great on you, yeah. But I mean, it's magic and it won't work anyway, so I can hold on to it.
Want to try it on?
Sure.
We can feel that it's magic.
In the letter, he said that it
Oh,
was,
he said that it was
yeah,
magic.
it's magical.
Well, it said only worked on the the green beasties.
Okay. Sure. If you don't want it, or you don't want to try it.
No, I mean it's really pretty, but I would hate for something to happen to it if we know that we can't use it there anyway. Maybe it is better if we leave it somewhere safe.
Yeah, I think you should give it to me and I'll hold on to it. It's very pretty. She just takes it. Everyone's just kind of. This is a pretty
She
little
has
symbol.
so much stuff on her head.
She's got so much stuff, like over her horns that are spiraling like to the front, and then she smiles.
Her neck's just this thick from like holding all the stuff up sick all the time.
Like a tiefling's to teeth. She's got so much jewelry.
All right, so you all smile, wave at Avadon, and then step up onto the griffins with the riders. They all help you aboard. And you... Anything else before you take off? All right. You head off into the sky. As a person who hates flying, but does it often, I can only imagine that, like, initial, like, they jump off and then that, like, as your stomach kind of, like, lifts and doesn't settle in the same spot. But you all take off
Pucker hole.
into the sky. Much different feeling. You've done it before, but a much different feeling, or maybe not you, but the rest of you all have done this before, but a different feeling than
Those are
being on
not
the back.
the riders. This is...
Well, but
The
you've been on
dragon.
the dragon before.
Oh,
at
yeah,
least.
yeah.
But it's different than that. Definitely bumpier. A lot more, like when you turn, you feel the turn and you have to hold on. There's a lot more core strength involved in riding the griffins, but you take off into the sky.
More on like a dirt bike versus being on a Mack truck.
Right. And as you take off, it starts to get windier, and you fly almost directly into the clouds that are very clearly a snowstorm, and it gets cold. Bundling up, or not for Zan. Does not get cold for Zan, right?
No, Sam does not have his boots on because he's wearing that new cloak.
Oh, all right. So you get a little bit cold,
So he's
right?
sitting there with
Because
like ice in his beard, but like
But my
still
hood's
like just stone faced, like I can
Yeah.
handle this.
the riders basically kind of tell you, like, they've got face gear and everything ready for this, but they're just like, keep your heads down as you go. And it's a long... Probably not a single one of you looked forward to this necessarily, because you've done this before, and riding for a while is not all that much fun. But it is a long first night into the snowstorm, the snow falling and hitting you in the face and gathering on your face and in your hair and on your clothes. You are able to kind of sleep a little bit. Like, you're secured in there. It's just that you nobody's just kind of like flopping and letting themselves go. Like, you're tensing up when you need
Are
to.
we like in saddles?
Yeah.
Was Killer's pilot a dwarf or
Yes, Killer's pilot is a
so
dwarf.
I'm just falling asleep just
Yeah.
on top of his back. It's just
What
a
is
little-
our? Who's driving that
What are
tractor?
you gonna push off your half-melted face? Like, oh, man.
Nutcracker was the woman, the female human who was like the one talking, doing all the talking. You're much bigger than she is as well.
You're huge, so you're like your griffin's like struggling to keep
Griffin's
Like
flying
holding
like
on
this.
her head
Little
and, but the first night goes, you land by the end. You travel very far, but it's almost impossible to tell exactly because you're in the middle of a snowstorm. It's unpleasant. You don't feel great when you land. But you land outside of the storm, like the next day. Yeah, in the morning. The next day. While they did tell you that they wanted to have you kind of fly at night, when you land at the next place, what you're told by the guards there is that something has changed, and it appears that the gold dragons have created a kind of path for you in the sky to get where you need to be more quickly. Like, they had been the ones hanging back the gold and the silver. Is that right?
Yeah.
Fighter escort.
Oh, well, the silver and the bronze. Actually, the gold were in the front lines. So anyway, either way, they had cleared a path and they were like just very straightforward, like we can keep the skies clear for you on your way to SeaHall. So you are given the opportunity, at least this time, they're going to switch you off and just go right away. So you end up back on the back of these griffins, a different set this time. And
do we have names for them?
Sure.
Huey, Dewey, Louie, and Donald.
There you go. Huey, Dewey, Louie, and Donald. And and you take off. The sky and the weather this time is actually much clearer. Still cold. Very nice. It's like very clear air up where you're at, but also now that the storm is gone and you have moments where you can kind of like peer off to the side, mostly to the east as you're heading north. There's a lot more evidence of the damage that the cult has been doing. There are broken down like hamlets you can see that are just completely kind of like razed to the ground. Off in the distance you can see the telltale signs of attacks that have happened recently or are happening now, and you can see like lines of people as you were continuing along. You start to see little like refugee lines heading towards the major cities, towards the coast, and it has gotten a lot worse as you continue on. On the second evening is when you begin to fly over the mere, or you begin to see it off in the distance, and then see the evidence of the swamp, the mere of dead men.
They've flown this route before on the Griffin Riders?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they know, so I don't have to say anything to them.
Yeah, no. They know it. They typically go over SeaHall, like towards Neverwinter. They're starting to build a
But they know that the
route.
air is dangerous.
Oh, yeah, they know, yeah. And going over it at night is actually kind of preferred. You take breaks. The Griffins are allowed to take breaks here and there. They don't fly straight through, but once you get over the mere, it's like, okay, we're just going. By the end of that second night, and as the sun is rising on the third day, still clear skies, you find yourselves finally getting over the mere. Lots of, even though you're high up, like looking down over it, there's like weird lights that you see, like green and blues and purples that are just kind of scattered throughout the swamp. It's a huge space. You hear very strange like screams and cries from underneath you as you're flying over, and howls and all kinds of noises that, again, well, Zan and Aaric would be familiar with from when you were in the mere itself.
It's not a fun
long
place to
time
be.
ago. And then eventually you end up landing.
Think like the Everblades on all the meth.
All the bath salts.
All the meth,
Just
bath
the,
salts,
just the
and
full
crack.
name. It's the Mirror of Dead Men.
Yes.
Funny enough, in Chicenta, there's actually a mirror called the Meth Mirror. Don't know why. It's very strange.
You know why. So you eventually end up touching down approximately, and Aaric would know this more than others, like you fly over the about 25, 35-ish miles to the south of SeaHall is where you recognize the scene of the Bloodwine Massacre. It's been a long time since it happened, and so it just looks like nothing ever happened here. There's some, for those who know, which would only be you, you can see little divots in the ground and like ravine or like carve outs that might not have necessarily been there before, or maybe had been and had been covered over, and that's where the goblins and orcs and hobgoblins and all of them had popped up out of, and the spiders and all of that. But otherwise, like with snow having fallen and melted, and that on the cusp of where the mere with its kind of warm atmosphere, no one would know that anything had happened there.
Can Aaric's gonna lean forward and ask the rider to put down.
You hear, like, as you say that, they're like, "This is not the protocol, sir."
I understand.
All right. And he's like, does the whole like woo thing that I can't do. And then you see, like,
I
suddenly
wish I could
bang.
do the dad whistle. I always thought that was gonna be. See, I always thought it was gonna be something that could, like, I can't do it.
No, I can't.
Only every once in a while can I accidentally whistle fucking piercingly loud through my front teeth when I do like an S. It's like, holy shit.
That's as
I'm
quiet
not gonna
as I
make
can
that
do it.
canon.
Any louder.
Your rider has a gap and he just goes. So he banks to the side, and then all the other, kind of out of nowhere for you all, they do try to give you. They're like, "We're gonna turn," and you turn and swoop down, and like where on the edge there, you kind of touch down outside of the mirror. It's probably about 5 miles away, but like it's very flat, a little bit rolly, but
The mirror or the
mirror.
battlefield? Okay.
yeah, the mirror is about 5 miles away to the south. And as you land, the griffins touch down, and the rider on yours is like, "We can't stay here long, sir. Very dangerous."
This will only take a moment. Aaric will hop off. And she's gonna walk probably 50 feet away, I suppose. I'll drop to one knee, and he's gonna like. Is there snow on the ground? You said.
It's like
Where it's
mud
warm.
around
Okay.
here, yeah.
So he's gonna like dig like a shallow, and hopefully not come up across any like bones. He's gonna dig down, about yay far, a foot maybe less, and he's gonna take out 2 of his. He's got so many daggers and stuff like that. He'll
Actually, roll a D100.
Are we taking a poo break?
You all see your riders are kind of like they're doing the NPC like.
That's a 69 noise.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah.
60.
No, you dig down and you don't come across anything.
Oh, that's what that was for. I was like, oh, Jesus.
You
Come up with a
across
skull.
it.
So he's going to take out actually one of his many hand axes, and one of his many, he's going to lay it in like a cross formation, like in an X. He's going to take the dagger, and he's actually going to, next to the cut that he actually did the night before, he's going to slit his hand again, lay the dagger in, and he's going to just kind of like drop some blood on it. And he's going to say a few words in his, out loud. Soon you will rest, and you'll find justice. And you'll be able to find peace. And he's going to cover back up. That. Dust stuff off. Get up and walk back. He'll also wet the necklace that had the blood on it before.
Yeah.
Again, with the same. The red knight. Yeah.
The chest piece, yeah.
And he'll get back on.
Okay.
So
And
no poo.
Nope. All he wants.
Okay.
Nope. Remember in the fallen, Val.
so the one that is on Val's griffin was kind of like the leader of this particular group. He's like, "We good?
We're good.
All right." And they take off into the air, and the other ones follow.
I don't want that off my shoe. I always forget that.
And you continue north. It doesn't take too much longer for you to arrive in. By the way, also the smell from the mirror it's very noticeable. It's like that mixture of all I can describe it as really is when you lift up a flower pot that has been watered, soaking in water for too long, and that smell of you've been trying to keep your plants alive and you're really bad at it, and so you end up putting too much water in and drowning them and they die, but then they die on the inside and you lift it up and you're like, oh my god, and so it's rotting from the bottom because you suck
Who hurt
at
you?
keeping plants alive.
She's talking about every plant we ever
I know,
planted.
All
but
the
it was
plants
just
are plants.
this was so personal.
Very specific.
I'm trying to keep them alive
We keep
and I'm drowning
nothing
them.
alive here.
See, I imagine it as that. You ever just have potatoes around too long and they
Yes.
go bad?
Yeah.
That gross
The
gross
rotting
potato
from
smell.
the
It's like that
outside, yes.
Bad
That's what
breath,
it
but
smells
it's
like.
not breath smell.
It's the halitosis of the world.
Very sad. Anyway, so you continue on.
Share your stories until your plants, the
How are
horrible
you
smells
killing
they
your
make.
plants? Mother of God. And then well, it takes a little bit, actually. You're like 30 miles away. So you continue on and touch down about like midday on the third day. You thought it would be in the morning, but it didn't work out that way. So you touch down about a mile or so outside of the city, on the cusp of where to the south. And actually, I wonder if I can do this without completely destroying everything that I'm trying to do with this stream. The city of SeaHall, surrounded, at least on the southern side, by farmland, and then I believe it's a mill or a windmill
Yeah, that's
on the southern side.
on the south side. There's a whole section called the Murky Mill. That's where they do all their textiles and stuff like that. So there's windmills and all that yucky stuff. And then you've got the bread port on the water to the west. And to the right, I think you have the South Ward Gate.
So you,
What I should have done is study this.
let me see if I can pull up the map.
I should have listened to the last session, but you know what?
Hey, we all make mistakes.
So you land outside as it's like about midday. The riders tell you so the instructions that we were given were to let you know that you should stay here until nightfall. There was talk of southern ward, the bread port, being the easiest entry. We can't tell you what to do. This is just what we were told to let you know. So there's someone who's supposed to be meeting you here. Either you give a signal or they do. Not really sure, but wait until nightfall.
Are we at the edge of a field, you said?
So if you look to the north, you're going to see the city, and it's a walled city. And there, as you look towards the sea, you can tell that there's a port there.
So they have seen us land?
It's about a mile away or so, but you they didn't overtly land, just fly in and land. This is meant to be more
Surreptitious.
As I say, there's people on those towers, you're like, what the fuck is that over there?
Yeah, you didn't come in from the top and go down. They were coasting in low and
Skimming over the trees.
Get you there quietly.
Flight of
But there are
Valkyries is fine.
farms
Yeah.
and stuff around. So they just kind of look at you and can we get you anything else? You need anything? Any message sent back?
Just tell them that we've arrived safely.
Will
Good.
do.
And good travels back.
Tell my wife that I love her.
What's your wife's name?
Frank.
Where's Frank live?
I'm just fucking with you.
All right. Good luck.
And you too on your way back.
They get on their griffins and then kind of take off, but not the way up in the sky. Just low at first until they can disappear around some trees. And what are you doing?
Who are we meeting?
Leosin.
I know Leosin is supposed to be in the city, or perhaps another harbor, but it would make most sense to be Leosin.
We did mention a place called the Bread Port. It's a hive of scum and villainy of all there is at SeaHall. It's where most of the smuggling and all that comes through the short docks.
So should we disguise ourselves? Or you more particularly?
Let's keep a hood up and keep a low profile. I don't think there's much that I can do to disguise myself at this point.
We should try and remain unseen, stick to the trees and not move in the open until nightfall.
We can either work our way up up the south road to the through the Murky Mill, or we can try to find our way through the woods or up the coast. and make our way up into Bredport.
You know the area best.
Aye.
What do you suggest?
It's your territory.
I would stick to the road in this area. Oh, there we go.
What's up?
Aaric's gonna draw that in the dirt with a stick real quick. And like, this is that. You know.
What is that? It's a rock.
It's a bush.
So where are we now?
You're to the south.
We're down here somewhere.
Get rid of this.
We can take the road up. Or we could just cross up. This is supposed to be all farmland too.
Yep.
It's all farmland around there. But we'd be crossing other people's like land and farms and stuff. Or we could just be travelers going up the road and cut across and through. I do believe. One moment. I wish I had more time. I wish my kid wasn't sick so I could have. Okay. Never mind.
So
Sorry.
yes, there are several entrances to this city, and the ones that you can see that are the most kind of bustling at this point are the ones to the very, very south that Aaric explains is to the Murky Mill area, and then a little bit to the west is the Breadport. You can see, there are a bunch of buildings there, not the most beautifully made or anything like that, but you can tell that there's a port there. It's just not the main one where all of the super important things come through. So
I'd recommend going through there. There's a gate that the guards aren't generally on top of. Because it is where all the smuggling happens to come through.
Right. There's no refugees coming from here or anything? Are the roads empty, or are there people traveling these roads?
So the road that you can see that is the south, going down to your direction, that one's extremely quiet. In terms of, there's nobody coming from where you are, a mile or so away. Anything that's going on is, from the folks living in that area, just going into the city. You can't see any further, so you don't know if there's any other, movement or anything like that, but this road, you turn around and look, and that's the direction you came from where the mirror is. So it is not like there's a bunch of trade going from Waterdeep to SeaHall.
Like the idea of the road keeps going, but it's just slants under
Yeah,
the
right.
water. Just goes into the mirror.
There's not, from what you can tell and where you are on the south side of the city, you cannot see refugees at this point.
Aaric is first going to take off his cloak, and he's going to, it's not muddy here, right? It's just...
It's...
Or just dirt.
Yeah, it's dirt,
Cold
some
and
mud,
wet.
it's
So
cold.
he's going to, rub it into the dirt,
Okay.
dirty it up, and then put some on his face.
Alright.
I'd recommend we want to blend in. We don't want to stand out. We probably don't think of ourselves as exactly resplendent, but we definitely do stand out in a crowd.
Just
Not dirty yourself.
looks at himself and his furs and tatters, is okay. Puts mud on his half fucked up face.
Well, generally as adventurers, I remember you've mentioned that we do kind of.
It's the weapons.
My cloak hides.
Yes. If you're kind of all...
that's my job, to go to town killing things. So I hide them under my cloak.
Well, Aaric's going to make himself look, more, not quite vagrant-ish, but
Yeah.
dirty.
Less standy-outy.
I don't know
Yes,
why, but
let's
I'm
think
picturing
about it.
Robin Hood, the fox, when he's being the blind old man.
This thing. Yeah, he just wants to, look a little dusty.
Yeah.
So.
These two are probably the shiniest ones.
There's
Well-
furbolgs around.
Yeah, I was gonna say I, as a furbolg, can do disguise self,
Yes, you
and I
can.
don't think it uses spell slot, does it? It just says use.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna do that. Does that changes your outfit and everything too, or just your
disguise
appearance?
self? So the seeming is the one where you seem like you are, but if somebody were to if you were to make yourself look shorter and someone touches your head, they'll feel you. Disguise self, I think, is, it should tell you in more detail, but you should be able to disguise
armor,
yourself to look
weapons.
like
I think it just
whatever you
changes
are.
your appearance, but you're still you. It's almost like you have like a hologram projected over you.
Okay.
But you could be like a tall tiefling or, a tall...
Oh,
human.
yeah. I think if someone touches me, like if they closely inspect me,
Yeah.
they will know that I'm not who I am.
So you could look
appearing to be?
exactly like yourself, but dirtier. Like, whatever you want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Without getting dirty.
Yeah, well, yeah, really.
Val
If you
always
were-
looks like a creepy, dirty guy, so he's just dirty crease.
Zan stands out a little bit from his leather from the Feywild, and he has blue
That's
hair.
honestly, that's exactly what I was thinking. I was thinking of your Hero Forge with like the blue and the black and how like slick it looks. It's like he's just gonna be walking around and be like, yeah,
That's an adventurer.
that's the guy.
But he's got that new nifty cloak
nice,
that
okay.
gives, as long as he has his hood up, people have disadvantage on spotting him.
Okay. If you were gonna change your appearance, I would recommend SeaHall does have mostly humans. You can
Yeah.
be anything you want, of course.
Arwell's gonna turn themselves. They can become a foot shorter, so they're gonna be a 6 foot tall lady with kind of like scraggly, like greasy looking hair and like tattered dress and cloak and like a couple of teeth missing.
Can we put a bandana around Zan's head and ears,
Zan
just
has
like
his-
Spock whenever they went back in time? Because that was the thing that hit him for being an alien, is just the tips of his ears are covered.
Which is funny because people get that surgery all the time. So
Not in
they
the
can do whatever.
60s.
No, I know. But now that would be fine.
Yeah, Zan's covered himself up in his cloak with his hood up, just trying to be the nobody that he believes himself
And if
to
we
be.
all have a hood up, don't we all look suspicious?
No, it's bad weather.
My hood's
It's cold.
I was gonna keep his out, but his is all real.
Does a 20 hit you?
Jesus, already?
No, 21
It's a
is
scary
my
question.
It's 21.
AC. Yeah.
So you are.
Son of a bitch already!
You're standing there.
I told you they sauce land.
You're standing there just kind of like looking all at each other, and then this clod of dirt just comes like whipping past your head and lands, behind you, and you turn and look. And Zan, you had seen it like a second before it happened, and you see a very familiar halfling standing.
Oh, I was gonna draw on it.
And she's just standing there, and she's like, ah, shit.
Are you in our bag of holding? Where do you just pop out of?
I have my secrets.
It's the wee lass.
Yeah, I figured I was doing you a favor. It was like helping you get, improve your looks for...
I appreciate it, thank you.
Yeah. Hey, everyone. Where's Avadon?
She decided to stay behind.
Probably for the best. Issa just kind of like finds a rock nearby and sits down and just looks at you all. She's wearing her regular clothing, her leather armor. She's got her weapons by her side. She's got like a little cloak on as well. But you've seen her wearing before. That does have magical abilities typically. You can tell that she just kind of disappears when she puts it on.
Are you the contact?
No, I hadn't planned on really seeing you guys again, really, until maybe the battle. But I was given different orders. So,
And what were those orders?
to be here.
To help?
I mean, I guess so. You caused me to fail in my last mission. So, maybe this is my punishment? I don't really know.
Either way, I'm glad to have you.
Thanks. Wish I could say I was glad to be here. But,
I don't think anybody really is.
yeah.
No, fine.
Keep that same energy when we get there. When we're fighting the boss, keep that same fucking energy.
So what's the plan?
The breadport. We made our contact. Sneak in under the cover of night.
Yeah.
You've been in already.
I've been to SeaHall. I hadn't been recently. It was getting crowded in there. A lot of mercenaries, a lot of cultists. The mercenaries left, I heard, but still a lot of cultists. Just kind of, and then the army that they built is pretty impressive. Very loyal.
We heard they weren't of the citizens, though.
No, I mean, about the time that writ with your, details that were all over it, there was also the, come join the SeaHall New Order. And it was, I don't know where he got the money, this young port lord. But folks from all around took him up on that offer. Like 25 gold just to sign up, room and board. So, a lot of folks from all around, nearby villages, hamlets, other cities, left the, armies and came down here. It's a really good way to get some loyal folks. Pay people enough, they don't have any ties. Ingenious, really.
You stop paying them and they are no longer loyal.
I don't think that that's a problem from what I've seen.
It's been the mystery this whole time to me. I don't understand where he's finding all the money. SeaHall's an up-and-coming, well-off, but young city. I don't know where he's getting all that money. But
Yeah.
I've got suspicions he made some kind of a deal. Or someone from the council. Does she know who O'Malley is? Has she made? Does Issa know who O'Malley is? Someone from the council that we spoke to said there might have been a fiendish presence there, so I suspect he might have made a deal of some kind. It's the only thing that explains it to me.
Yeah, we've been trying to get in there and understand where all that money's coming from. If you've got endless coffers, it's something that I'm sure the Harpers have also been trying to do. Nobody knows. Can't get into that summer holdfast, I think it is. The keep or whatever it is. Can't get in there. It's nailed down. And now with the magic thing, it's incredibly difficult.
Well, I'd recommend that we stay here until nightfall, work our way up, meet our contact, try to get in. I know people inside, and I've heard that they're alive. So.
Well, that's good. It's always good when your friends are alive.
It's good to see you too.
So, I think she was talking about the people in that cavern.
I know, but I was trying to play it like she was talking about us. There's no hard feelings about us not taking up on the deal from you and the Zentarum? Zentarum? Is that how you pronounce it?
I mean, if it's too hard for you, you can just call them the Zents.
The Zents.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see. We'll see, right?
We'll see.
Right? Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how this one goes. I mean, I told them that they should have gone up to 100,000. Would 100,000 have sealed the deal? I'm not talking to you. I know where you sit.
It might have sweetened the pot a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, the Zents can afford 100,000, but they said 75.
Everyone's a little frugal in these tough times.
Yeah. That's true.
Recession and all.
I mean, the only thing that sucks is...
The price of carrots for your horse has gone so high.
I mean, I don't know how much leadership really wants, how badly, they want this tower, so maybe could have avoided a future fight, but who knows?
That's for those above our pay grade.
Yeah. Did real good work there in the village, though, like helping people and bringing people back from near death. And hopefully it's all not for, not, because you didn't just want a little extra money. But anyway, we'll see how this one goes, and
Hopefully we can all be friendly again.
Yeah, hopefully. Just don't fuck me. Unless I ask you to.
I was super confused because I didn't actually hear what you just said. All I heard was the words, fuck me. This took a turn.
I was like,
I was like, wait, what?
Like, speaking of, where is Micaiah? She has not come back. Haven't seen her.
You're not sure.
I put a smile on my face.
No, alright. So we're just gonna sit here in awkward silence while we wait for the night to fall?
I have trail mix.
Yeah. Enjoy. She's got her she's got her flask or whatever she's taking sips from.
Is there an endless flask?
Flask of holding.
So, do you have any information about what's going on inside?
All I've got is, I think, all of what you know. If you got a rundown from the Harper leaders there, I think you know about as much as the Zents do. We've been involved in the same council meetings. I got a rundown from Rianne, just like you got a rundown from Remy.
Well, it looks like we wait.
Fun.
Did you ever find your potato?
Nope.
Potato.
Did you ever find it?
We have not.
Make a persuasion check.
Why are we looking for potatoes?
Oh, the potatoes! The way you said that. It's 15 plus, I believe, 4. 19.
Okay. Oops, I'm looking at the wrong thing here.
We didn't come
Isn't
across.
it +4 persuasion?
What?
Isn't it more persuasion?
Oh, it's actually +6. Why did I say +4? Oh, because I was looking at perception. Good call. Thanks, buddy.
Yeah, she just kind of nods.
I was looking at the wrong fucking stat. I just saw the P and I was like, oh, +4. I'm just so happy that I don't have a fucking +0.
I was like, wait a minute, your charisma's at least a +2 alone.
Yeah.
So, so you, anything you want to do before the night falls, or are you just hanging out until?
Aaric's just gonna sharpen his weapons like he does.
Can I hunt for food?
Yeah, of course, yeah. But what do you mean?
Like
You're gonna have farmland right in. Do you want to scavenge?
I was gonna go into the woods and shoot a bunny.
There's not really woods. It's
I thought we were hanging out at the edge of the woods.
No, there's a tree line in the back, but behind you is the mirror, the swampland.
No,
You don't want to eat
want
anything.
those.
You don't want to
I
eat
mean, there are
anything.
trees, but I wouldn't say that there's a forest per se.
We don't have any holy hand grenades, so.
But there are there's farms.
They're known for their
Sneak
delicious.
up behind someone's cow and be like,
They're known for their delicious wine and grapes.
all right.
Now,
I'm going into someone's vineyard and I'm just taking some grapes.
Some guy could be with a medieval shotgun. Get off my way!
Roll a stealth check. Issa's gonna go with you, but she's not gonna try to be necessarily overly stealthy. Yeah, she's not.
Nope.
Okay.
Nope.
Oh fuck, man! We're gonna have to fight farmers before we get there.
So you just kind of wander onto one of the vineyards near the bottom here, which is a really brave vintner who's doing this because it is on the southern side where the mirror is. But maybe this is where the best grapes grow. And are you just picking wine grapes? Because this don't taste great. Or are you trying to...
He doesn't know.
Okay. So you start plucking wine grapes off. They are dry. They are not tasteless, but almost too much.
Just do one of those
Issa's
Maybe the next one will taste better.
does that about 3 times.
Issa's with you, and she's like, I don't think it's gonna get any better. I think that first one was as good as it gets.
Well, that's unfortunate.
Yeah, and you're stealing too. What? Right in the open.
These bushes are this big.
Yeah, you're not being very quiet. Neither am I.
Right, fine. Let's go.
So how'd you get rounded up with these folks? What do you know about them?
I assume the same that you know about them.
No, I know them quite well. What do you know?
I was assigned to evaluate the situation, and the bald, bulky one.
You almost
some...
said boy. I said boy like Ergnot.
No, I didn't. He's got pre-existing issues here with the lord of this place. The Zen is daft. I saw that man run back into a room full of fiends after being warned away. Ooh.
Yeah, well, I mean, he joined the Harper, so...
Are they all insane?
I wouldn't say insane, just not very bright.
Oh.
I don't think she likes you.
Yeah.
I thought you were like, I don't
Avadon, is very amusing. Has a thing for dragons.
Yeah, she is a dangerous one. I'm surprised you haven't, put her out of her misery, being a demon hunter and all.
No, I don't hunt demons. Only ghosts and undead.
Ah.
And I'm just as new as Elsa, the giant one over there.
Arwell?
Arwell, nice. I'm getting games mixed up.
Yeah, I really know. I didn't know her name. That's, No, she's good. I feel bad. She must have... I think she's probably gotten it, or they've gotten an earful quite a bit when Kaya and I were... Oh, you didn't meet with Kaya.
Nope.
Oh, I mean...
I missed the dwarf and I missed the other half-elf.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of funny. There's like, a little tryst going on, me and Aaric and Kaya.
Oh, a triangle.
Yeah. I think I'm winning.
I wish you luck.
Thanks. I don't think I need it. I'm pretty sure the winner's already been decided. But, yeah, poor Arwell. They were, it seemed to be on duty, like, every single time.
At the ill-fated mansion, you mean?
Yeah.
Aye. Yes, although that was not fun.
I mean, it was. What I'm talking about was fun. But, no.
Oh.
But, yeah, you're getting it.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah,
Yes.
there you go. Yes. Yeah, no. So I don't know if Arwell knows that they know me pretty well. There has to be
inside
plenty of
and
time.
out.
Plenty of times where I was walking down that hall and it was just whatever. I needed a drink or some food. Barry was getting, cooking something good, and I'd just get up and go for a walk.
No, I haven't seen any awkward faces yet, so...
Yeah. That's good.
Yeah, it's nature.
It is. I like you. What do you specialize in?
In what way?
With your weapons. She pulls out a dagger.
Oh, well, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and he pulls out his scimitars, and then he taps his heavy crossbow on his back.
You dabble in any non-magical means of defending yourself?
Oh, it's not preferred, but when it comes down to it, I'm able to swing these around, and I bought some oil, some cloths, and some extra darts to set things on fire.
Ah, alright. What about, she reaches into her bag, and she produces, like, a vial of this, like, thick liquid. Like, what about poisons?
Oh, he takes out his purple rain. I just picked up some of this before we left.
Oh. Yeah, that's good stuff.
Aye.
I've got a few doses if you need it. Not of that, but if you need some extras.
Appreciated.
You want one?
Yeah, I'll take one. Always willing to take poison.
She takes one of her just kind of basic poisons and she hands it to you. So you have a vial of poison. Basic poison is the type that you put on a weapon, and you can look that up.
Basic poison. And I will hand her some alchemist fire. because I had 2 of those that I made.
Oh,
I'm like,
thanks.
yeah, you can use some of this.
I knew I liked you. Listen, keep an eye on those Harpers.
Okay.
Zan, keep an eye on Zan. The Harpers, they're a little. I know they're helping you all, but they got some questionable motives.
Yeah, my group tries to really stay out of politics. This is outside of our comfort zone as it is.
That's all well and good, but politics doesn't stay outside of you.
That's deep.
I'm just saying. Just watch out.
Noted.
Alright, let's go back before you get us killed by a farmer.
These farmers with that shitty grapes. Grapes in the south are much better than these ones.
Zane would like to wait until Issa's alone, and he's gonna do that thing where he sneaks up behind her.
I thought you were gonna say like Zan is like on the other side of the bushes, like.
My first boss.
Standing
Roll
there
a
like
stealth
piccolo.
check.
I
And
have my cloak on, so any rolls to perceive me are done with disadvantage.
to see.
To see.
Okay.
Or am I rolling to see if I see him? Or?
No, he said he was waiting to see if she was when she's alone.
Oh, okay.
She doesn't have high perception at all.
20.
20 what?
9.
Oh yeah, she does not. She's only got very, very low. So she doesn't go off on her own, but she's kind of like separated from the group at one point, like in an area where you could, if you wanted to intentionally sneak up behind, you could.
Don't sneak up on her when she's trying to feed.
No.
That's fucked up, man.
She's just kind of watching the
Pulling R.
group.
Kelly.
And it's like there's a second where she's sitting there like watching this group as the sun is going down and you all are doing whatever it is you're doing, and she's like, fuck, where's Zan? And then I'm here. She's like, ah! Turns and looks. She's like, fuck you.
I just want.
You're supposed to say like fuck you back or something, so I don't feel as bad.
I just don't want any. Just don't want any tension between us. When I said no to your offer, that was not the Harpers. That was
Well.
me.
That's not gonna make it any less tense. Screwed me.
I speak for myself.
I need more wine. You're a Harper, Zan. Xander Huntsman.
Find me wine, Zan.
You don't speak for yourself anymore.
Zan just takes a grape and goes fills the whole thing.
Just punching the shit out of a wine bush. Wine vine. I can't remember. Grapevine. Bah, bah, bah.
To you, the Zen, you do everything they say,
That's my job.
and you believe in all of their causes.
I would say I made a deal when I joined them, and it doesn't matter if I believe in all of their causes, but it's what I gotta do. I might disagree, they don't care.
So you have no free will.
I do, but there comes a point where sometimes you gotta trust the people that are above you to make the decisions. And if you don't, you have better have a really good reason why you're not doing what they said. I've screwed up a couple times, and I've been told. They only let that happen a couple. After that, all the promises that you made to them and they made to you, well, they might not be as strong as they were in the beginning.
Well, I hope they keep up their end of the bargain for you and Kendrick's sake.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
I know what it's like to not know where a parent is. And no matter the reason, it'll never make sense to him. He doesn't know you. he will know who the Santorum are.
Well, that's where you're wrong, Huntsman. Kendrick knows who his parent is. And it's not me. And that's all he needs to know. He'll never know me. He'll never know the Zentarum. Because as far as he is concerned, I don't exist. His mother is with him right now.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
I grew up not knowing who my father was. And one day I found out. Stranger things in this world happen.
I would say it's in the best interests of his mother
But
that
you
she's
don't,
the only one that he ever knows.
you don't get to choose what he'll find out.
No. I guess you're right. You gonna tell him?
I have no reason to.
Okay. Well, I feel like we're at an impasse here. I mean, I got nothing. You're part of the Harpers, I'm part of the Zentarum. We're like not, we don't get along. It's just the way that it is, you know? I have to give you shit about it.
Crips.
I gotta give you some shit about it. You fucked up my shit. I wasn't able to get what I needed. They blamed me a little bit for, you know, because I missed you all at the city, the village before you went in. That was my fault. I will admit that. I was up a little late the night before. I slept in. And I missed you. And then I couldn't go in because that would be suicide.
Just know when you're speaking with me, you're speaking with me, not the Harpers.
I don't believe that for a second.
Doesn't matter if you believe it, it's the truth. I know that that's a foreign subject to you.
Just know when you're speaking with me, you're speaking to the Zentarum.
I know that now,
All right.
and I won't be there a third time to save your life. And say I'll walk away.
Fades into the darkness.
She's like,
I saw
Just
that.
the nearest shadow.
With this passive perception, I saw that.
good! I hope you did. Anybody else? Anything that, all these...
I mean, they haven't had an interaction yet.
Aaric is just sitting there like, oh man, I hope this all goes well. I hope everyone really pitches in.
Outside of Taylor, just be careful. He used to try to sleep with everybody, so
Yeah.
just be ready.
So you try to sleep with Val.
Not yet.
Thanks
How
to
many
Brooks.
times?
Not really all that much time.
How long have you spent with her? I mean, it
We
usually,
spent the afternoon in
Usually-
a vine grove.
it usually takes, if you sleep in the same establishment, eventually she's gonna.
It takes one long rest.
Well, my favorite was her advances to Erdnot. That went over his head.
Yeah, she'll go over to you, Arwell, at that point.
Arwell
After
has
she
Charlie
yells.
stretching his legs and is playing the bone flute a little bit.
Charlie or
No, he's stretching his legs. We are playing the bone flute. Yeah.
Whoa.
Issa will come over, little halfling. She looks really mad, actually, at this point. She just sits down. She's like, that sounds like shit.
Ooh, I know you don't mean that.
No, you're right. I know.
Wicked sad bone flute sound.
I know. No, you're right. I don't. It sounds wonderful. How are you doing with this group?
Well, you know, I think they like me okay, and I think I'm sort of settling in
Oh,
a little bit.
that's good. Do you remember me?
Vividly, yeah.
All right, yeah. I thought so. I mean, you know, when the light hits my very beautifully bronzed skin at a certain angle, you just can't forget it. And I know that a lot of that skin was exposed many times that I ran into in the hall.
Mm-hmm.
And I would apologize, except that I'm not sorry. And so,
Oh, it's okay. Usually I just would cover my eyes a little bit.
no, that's very, very nice of you. I could tell. I knew you were good people because of that. Yeah. Did you ever get a chance to talk to Micaiah?
A little bit.
She's good. She's a good person. I hope she's doing good wherever she is. So how'd you get the Harpers to let you join this little group here?
Who? Well, they kind of asked me to. I think they needed a little extra help, and I'm a healer, and I didn't really have any work at the mansion anymore, so here I am. Ooh.
Yeah. So you're part of the Harpers, or just part of this group?
Who? I'm not familiar with the Harpers. I've never played the harp.
Got a little nerd in your beard there, buddy.
Sorry, I like Sorry.
Harpers, geez, no, I've never played the harp. I did play the clarinet for a little bit. Ooh. No, not a harp.
It's alright, it's okay. Alright, it's alright.
There's one time at band camp.
Arl has big, band kid vibes.
It's cool, it's alright. I'm not trying to put you on the spot. I'm just, the group's dynamic has changed a little bit since I met them. Very good folks overall. You're in good hands.
Oh, that's good to hear.
This is going to be really tough for you, though, because there's no magic in there. You have a plan?
I'm a little worried. I have to admit, I don't want the others to know I'm worried because I feel like I need to be steadfast and strong, like a rock, to keep them all moored in the storm that is this tumultuous time that we are living through. But if I'm being entirely honest, I'm pretty nervous about it. I do have my mace.
Okay.
I don't love using it. It's feels a little barbaric, a little bloody, but I guess I'm gonna have to. I don't really have much of a choice, and my job, first and foremost, has always been to protect, so I'll do what I have to do.
You know what helps with that is if you name it.
My mace?
Yeah. Then it's like your friends, and they're protecting you.
That's a great idea.
Charlie too.
Chuck.
Chuck and Chuck.
You don't have to do it now. I'm just, I'm not trying to pressure you or anything. That's not what I do. But you could. And then you thank it every time it smashes something's head in, because it saved you.
Yeah, I like that. It's just me and Charlie and Loretta.
There you go.
Against the world.
Yeah. That's a solid name. And I can understand, having to be the rock because you are the tallest one out of everybody and everyone's going to be looking up and they're going to see you. That's a lot of pressure.
Oh, you're making my stomach hurt.
For someone like me, I'm really short. So, now I'm, we're sitting with each other and looking at, you're still a little taller than me, but normally if I'm looking around someone your height, I'm seeing, just the below the waist. And then it's not as much pressure because I have to tilt my head up and maybe I can't do that in the moment.
Is that how you seem really confident? Do you think that has to do with that, or is it just your
being small
personality? Yeah, I don't. Huh. It's not easy always for everyone to be confident all the time.
Yeah, no, that's true. Yeah, no, I'm pretty confident most of my life. I'm the youngest of several children, and they were all boys. So you gotta be confident.
Hold your own.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They all ended up being bankers and stuff, but that's boring.
That is boring. Although there's something to be said for boring. Boring life.
Yeah,
that
it's
sounds
boring.
kind of nice.
That's what I would say about it. It's boring.
Wow. Some of us didn't choose our path and maybe would have preferred boring, but you
Well,
always get to choose.
if you can harness that non-magical ability where we're about to go and you make it out of there, then maybe you get to choose not exciting. That's something to look forward to. You and Loretta, not exciting, super boring.
And Charlie.
And Charlie, sorry, yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that would be nice. I won't get my hopes up too high, but that would be nice.
Yeah. Well, if there's anything that you need to know, any secrets you need to know about any of these folks, I don't know that Val guy at all. But these other two, or, Avadon, she worries me.
I mean, I don't like to be nosy. I mostly try to mind my business. But if there's anything you think I should know, they seem like nice people. Should I be worried?
I mean, I'd be worried here. The only reason why you're even kind of here is because of Aaric Firesong. I mean, you're in danger's path because of him. But, he's tried. He tries.
Sounds like every ex-girlfriend I ever had.
Tries hard to
He means well.
do the right thing, I guess. And then you just gotta watch out again. I know I'm beating dead horse here, but the Harpers are, they've got their own motives. So, and Zan joined them. So just be careful. I know they came to you. You might trust them, but at the end of the day, they've got their own motives to do their own thing. So, just keep it in mind.
I'm not sure that I trust them.
Good.
Entirely. Just because it's hard to trust anyone really entirely.
Yeah, of course.
That I haven't known a long time.
Mm-hmm,
But, yeah. I mean, that's good advice. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm full of really great advice.
I appreciate your cynicism.
Well, don't die. Don't let me die. You're the healer. So keep that also in mind. But you're like, Loretta, we're the healer. Keep me alive, too.
I'm going to do my best.
I know
And not
you
to
will.
mess this up.
Like, pats your arm.
Again.
Yeah, I know you will. You and Charlie.
And Loretta.
And Loretta, yeah. All right.
Well, I better get back to my flute.
Yeah,
Thanks
you should
for-
definitely. It sounds you're doing great. You're practicing and it's doing great. You're doing great.
I just honestly want to show Avadon that I've been practicing when we get back to see her.
Yeah, Avadon's real simple to impress, so I think you're going to get there either way. I'm going to go far away from where you're practicing. So I don't disturb you. All right, bye.
Sounds good.
She's so nice in the dickish of ways. It's really good, but I'm going to go over there.
General Kenobi just entered the chat.
Hey!
Hello
He
there.
said hello there.
Hello there.
Oh, General Kenobi!
All right, so as the night falls and you begin to settle in, kind of like nervous, that nervous like anxiety of waiting for whatever the signal is going to be, you all do kind of your own thing, and then about an hour or so after nightfall, you look off. Aaric, you're kind of paying very close attention, towards the bread port, and you begin to see a very old school, like, light flashing to the south. Not in any kind of Morse code, it's just like very random. There's just light that, flashes, and it's coming from the port, so like towards the water. And it only takes a few more seconds before Zan also would see, and also Arwell. Maybe.
I'm practicing my scimitars. I'm like,
and
Watch out
passes.
for your other eye.
Yeah. and Issa's just kind of watching you. So she's still sipping. She doesn't see a damn thing. And then you just kind of like go over to Aaric. There's a hand on your shoulder. Zan's standing there. You make eye contact as you see the light flashing, and that's where we're gonna take a break.
yay, I gotta pee.
So don't forget, you can enter into today's giveaway with exclamation point ticket. We will be back in 20 minutes, 25 minutes. We'll be back. I'll be doing things in the chat, so you know. And we will continue with our story. If the transition button works.
Don't listen to that.
Alright, we are back.
No, we're not.
Welcome in. For those of you who are just joining us, we are going to do our giveaway for the dice, which I have a whole mess of dice. We got dice bags. Let's choose this one. This is a very pretty floral design here with some green sparkly dice to match the, like it goes with it like it's flowers and this is the stem. That's what I was thinking when I matched it. So we'll find out who
It's
is
free
going to win.
dice.
It's free dice. A whole set of free dice in a dice bag. So you can exclamation point ticket to enter into the giveaway. We have 8 people who have entered today, so quite a few.
It's like a strapless fanny pack.
And this?
Yeah. Right? Look at it. It's like someone took the strap
I think
off a
it's supposed to
fanny
be a
pack.
makeup bag. But it's very cute. It's got a little charm on it. So anyway, exclamation point ticket. I'm going to close the giveaway and we are going to jump back into the game in a moment. So closing the giveaway now. And we are drawing a winner. So you can no longer enter the giveaway. Our winner is FRGTE.
Yeah.
Yay!
Oh, that's my husband.
Hey! He's like, I just won some dice!
I was like, that's so cute.
That was super cute.
Technically,
Wow.
they're not mine. No,
Yeah,
they're
no, these
his,
are.
but
Thank you so much for
Save
entering,
on
everyone.
postage.
thanks on this
Yeah,
moment.
right. So well, here you go. Thank you, husband, for entering into the giveaway and for supporting us.
12.5.
Should we do another one?
12.5% chance of winning.
Yeah.
Stroke? What is
Here,
that?
Purple
I got
toast.
another one. Can I do another
I
one?
smell burnt bread.
Let's do another one, just because we'll get somebody outside of our lovely friend group here. So this is another flowery
Watch
dice
this one go to
bag,
Julie.
and
She's not watching.
and this set comes with a really cool, more like the runic
Oh, the
D4. So, and it's black because this one had a kind of darker vibe, I thought. So let's do another giveaway. Let's see. Draw another winner. Well, in how can I say? It just seems to be a theme. FRGTE won the first one, and then RBILR won the next one.
What do
So
these things stand for? I
congratulations.
must know. Is
Do
the
we
first
know who
one
that
Frogget?
is?
It's
Frogget?
It
It's
is
Rebiller.
like mash the keyboard
It's
letters.
Rebiller.
Rebiller.
Oh, Rebiller.
Were you
Yeah,
here for that?
No.
No, you
So-
were
For
here
two,
at the
it doesn't
beginning.
have a rhyme or reason.
Congratulations, Rebiller, you won
Marvel,
a
is
set
it
of
the
beautiful
Rebiller?
dice.
FRGTE.
Frigate.
It's like he just typed random,
Frogget.
but then he uses it for like a bunch of
Forget.
usernames for things.
It's like forget.
So thank you for entering. And I'll get with you to get the address. You can message me on Discord if you'd like, or I'll message you on Twitch and get your address and send you along. Oh yes, the Ribbler. That's what we were calling him, the Ribbler.
Ribble me this.
So I'm gonna close this giveaway and I'm gonna mark this as complete. All right. So we rejoin again after our break here with the bums sitting outside of the port city of SeaHall. Oh, somebody came in. Thanks for following, Citizen One.
Thank you.
And you had landed earlier in the day on the backs of some Griffin riders from the city of Waterdeep. Waiting out until nightfall, you were joined by a little bit of a disgruntled Issa Dove Taterbrush, the halfling.
It's a total brush.
It's alright. He thought it was Issa Love Tater Bush at one point.
There's a video of that up.
Yeah.
Issa, he said that was the porn
After
name.
many,
Issa
many
Love
years
Tater,
of
Tater
playing.
Bush.
I thought that was the name!
After 2 years of playing with this character, he thought that
know
that
her
was
Issa Love Tater Bush.
So, a Zentarum associate who has been tasked with joining you as you are to enter the city of SeaHall and put a stop to the rule of Lord Peter Amsel and his council Fallon.
We're here to stop your bullshit.
And you waited until nightfall, at which point a a signal could be seen from the western side of the city, where the bread port is, an area where the rough and tumble kind of hang out and bring in goods and other not so awesome things under the cover of darkness a lot of times. So that's where we join you, seeing the signal.
Aaric's gonna grab his lantern of revealing, and he's just gonna flash it twice.
Okay. So you see a couple more random, no real rhyme or reason to it, that come through, and then it stops.
Okay. Not sure if that was a signal or not, but
Looked like a
haven't
signal.
seen
Pretty
anything
signally.
else. It's fairly signally.
Mm-hmm.
How far are we from, like, a mile or something?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Let's go. We all
What's up?
just sniper crawl through the grass. Let's go.
Alright. So you begin to head through. Everybody make stealth checks for me
No.
as you start to quietly make your way into SeaHall, more proper, I guess, the bread port.
That was not good. Oh, I forgot that Aaric wanted to change out of that the dragon scale armor into just breastplate.
Okay.
So
Does that change your AC?
it will drop. Actually, you know what? I'll do that once we get, I think, into the city.
Okay.
I'll retcon that retcon.
Okay.
Sorry.
So you continue along. You make your way through the farms. What did everybody get?
So 4.
A 4.
Actually,
Does it matter if Arwell looks different?
This is
Or is this...
more about being quiet, less about, like, if they see you, maybe they don't care. But how quiet are you all being?
I have 4. That's why I asked.
17.
15.
Issa, for a moment, just kind of like, this time, you're looking, you kind of like make eye contact with her, you look up, and then when you look back, she's gone. She does a thing like, but you end up kind of traipsing through a little bit of the farmlands.
my prize petunias.
Damn it!
You are not as stealthy as you hope. People do see you. Like, there's some farmers who are out doing like end of day chores, and as you head into the bread port, you are seen, but not necessarily, like, people don't necessarily care that they see you.
No exclamation points.
Are we just walking right through their land, or are we on a path?
No, you try to be like respectful and going through, but then after you get past the farms, you enter into Breadport, and there are buildings there, and you can hear the water like hitting the port as you get closer. It is, let me see here. Actually, I've got my location up of the districts. So, oops. We've got, you see that there's really no, like, main road. As you approach, you can see the gate from the Breadport into the city, but there's no, like, cobbled road or any kind of main way to get in that looks, like, official. There's all kinds of, like, taverns and kind of rough and tumble here, and it's outside of the city walls for the most part. You see what, Aaric, as you're kind of going through what you remember as the City Watch, those with, like, you remember, like, a green and, you know, the green and the red and whatnot, that has been replaced. They are not wearing the traditional, like, inner city watch clothing as they're kind of walking through the district. It looks like it's trying to be more formal, but there's a lot more reds involved and red and gold. You see folks going through. You're just kind of like making your way through. The smell changes a little bit as you get closer to the water, and you can tell that there's like no attempt at making this particular area welcoming, we'll say. The streets are very muddy and not overly taken care of, and people are just, there's a lot of like the coughing, and you know, it's like the traditional, this is not the best area of town.
It's the slums.
Yeah. So there's a lot of various people. You see like guards kind of like kicking people, and you just make your way through, not making any issue with what you're seeing.
What's it called in Game of Thrones? The flea bottom?
Yeah.
So as you make your way to the actual docks, you see a familiar face. I mean, no one else here would necessarily care, but at one of the, like, it's not quite the size of a rowboat, a little bit bigger, really small boat. On one of the docks, you look and see Leosin, the half-elf that you had saved from the raiders' camp a very long time ago, and who has been your main connection with the Harpers. Turns around. He's done a little bit of the same thing where he's made himself look a little bit like muddier, and he's not quite. He usually had like his hair kind of slicked and looking really nice, but now it's like the model dirty. Like it's still like every like strand of hairs is in like a perfectly disheveled space, but that's kind of.
Don't you hate that in movies?
It's just like he turns and.
You watch the Hunger Games, and for some reason, everybody's supposed to be really poor, but really hot.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense.
And he sees you, Zan, and he just like comes over, does not a full hug, but just like a pat on the shoulder. So you made it, and then he looks and he sees that Issa is with you. He's like,
Aye, we all made it.
yeah. And Issa looks at Leosin. She's like, I'm just as excited to see you. So, what do you know? Leosin says, well, what I do know is that we're going to take this boat into the city. Just going around to the main port area. And from there, we should be able to get you in straight to the Mermaid's Rest. That's where we're going to head. You don't quite feel it, but I can promise you that right now your magic means nothing.
I thought we're not even in the city yet.
It extends even outside the city walls.
It's hard to say. It does not seem to be like a straight line or a perfect circle, but yeah.
So even those of us with literal magic in our veins don't feel anything different.
You don't feel anything. But if you, it's like, I welcome you to try. No,
That's not out in the open anyways.
Anyway.
It's like shooting up fireballs and shit.
Issa lifts up her cloak, and she's just standing there with like a cloak, and she's holding it. She's like, nope, nothing. That sucks.
I click my boots together. I do nothing.
Nothing.
Do I feel anything when I reach down and touch my sword?
No.
Had to say.
No, you feel nothing.
I must look like myself again.
Yeah, you do.
Did we notice when that happened?
Well, if you were kind of like wearing your cloak or whatever over, all bundled up, you would now when you turn and look and see. It's like, oh yeah. And Zan looks like he did when you met him a long time ago. Because up to now, he's kind of like changed with the seasons. His skin had been really like light, and his hair was whitish, and he kind of just looks like the Zan that you met the very first time.
Just regular brown hair. Dirty blondish hair.
Yeah.
So do we turn off all of our magical doohickeys?
Just keep it in mind. you'd have to it would get confusing, but just remember that. any AC bonuses, any spells you can do at this point.
Fucking, we just got all fucked.
Yeah.
Like my everything. I'm just a big friend now.
You got Loretta.
You got
big
trusty Loretta.
Big Loretta. How about Charlie?
My AC just dropped.
Is Charlie just regular?
But luckily, I
As
have a
far
spare
as
spare
Arwell
armor.
knows, Charlie is just a regular old guinea pig. As far as they know. Although when she cast Detect Magic, Charlie did light up that time, but they don't know anything else.
So Leosin looks at you and he's like, I know it's rough, but
I must feel naked.
yeah.
Perhaps once we get settled in, you can let us know more of what you know.
Well, I gotta drop you all off. I can't go in there. I have another thing to go do, but let's get in the boat. So he'll climb into the boat there, and he starts rowing you around. So if I pull this back up here. What in the hell? Where's my fucking mouse? He starts rowing you around to, yeah. Now, it gets a little bit busier, but he doesn't bring you to the docks. Like you can see the actual docks are hanging out along the side there. He is just kind of brings you around to, why did that change? Brings you around to the other side of the wall, and you're all being like very quiet. Make a stealth check again.
Ooh. Well, for you, that's not a big deal.
Come on.
I got the same. For me, that is a big deal. Oh, I have to roll again because I have a disadvantage. That one was a nat 20. Fuck me, huh?
The Mermaid's Rest. Where's the Mermaid's Rest? Which port? Oh, Cobbler's port.
It'll be one. It
It's like right over
overlooks.
there.
I would say it's one of these secondary buildings. It's taller, like these front row, or like low slung.
Mm-hmm.
And then these other ones actually look over so they see the port. So it's going to be right in this area.
Yeah.
I didn't actually like pick the
No,
one
no.
that it
I
was.
just didn't know which port it was in. So what did you all get?
17.
7.
6.
12.
Fuck. Just arrows.
So there are points. Actually, I'm gonna have him. Oh, that works. Where like you seem to be having a little bit of trouble. It's almost like the sudden inability to have your magic available to you. Like you feel off. You feel like off kilter. There's just things that aren't right anymore. But luckily, Leosin, with his natural 19 plus, and Issa, they're able, like, it kind of evens out. You get a little bit like louder, and the boat kind of hits certain sides of rocks and whatever.
We don't
But
have
then
magic.
you
We
get
don't know how to sit in a boat now.
You're just like, I'm so confused. You get into the area, and he pulls you up on the side, not where the docks are again, but up on the side, and you kind of get out of the boats. He looks at you, Aaric, and he's like, I know you are very familiar with this area, but everyone just stay quiet. I will get you as far as the Mermaid's Rest, and then I'm coming right back. Do your best. We're not entirely sure about the extent of the magic, the anti-magic field. It does seem to be emanating from the keep, the main summer holdfast, but it's unclear. We can't get inside. Here in the Mermaid's Rest, we have found that there is a resistance that meets. They should be meeting soon, tonight. But sometimes also the daughter of the proprietor, she comes by, and she is the head of the new order, the army. So whatever discussions you have to have with the proprietors, make it quick, see if they can get you out of sight. Or just keep yourselves. You're really the only one that is recognizable.
Thank you for your help. We'll do what we can.
Alright, let's go.
Was it not conspicuous? Just someone in a boat going around the wall, or were there other small boats going?
It's dark. I mean, it's nighttime, and there's light on one port and light on the other, so like kind of coming around in the darkness it was. But, and actually, as just before you go, Leosin stops and he like looks to you, and he says, "It's good that you came at night. I know that you had some folks that were close to you that they interrogated. And it's been many months, but they are still outside that wall.
They're still there.
I mean, what remains of them?
I did see them when we passed. Excuse me, holy shit. I did see them when we passed by on our way up north. They'll pay.
He holds a grudge, Peter.
He does. I don't know why. All of this is his doing.
Self-reflection doesn't seem to be one of his strong suits.
No, he's not a very intelligent man.
And he hasn't been heard from in many days. So.
Has there been any word or sighting of his, of Fallon?
They have both been quiet. The cult moves freely throughout the streets here, but...
Did you say the cult?
The cult.
Yeah. What about his mother?
We've heard nothing
Lady
from his
Ansel.
mother.
I don't know her first name.
Emmeline.
Emmeline. I was gonna say I don't even create that character. That was only you. And no sighting of her?
Not from us, no.
To Mermaid's Rest. We'll figure this out.
Alright. I'm gonna have you all make another stealth check. As you begin to go through the city, it's not that far, as you know, but there's a certain point where you're going along and you can, and Leosin goes like, holds a hand back to have you all kind of sneak into an alleyway as you can hear the marching of a couple of the New Order walking down the street.
11.
11.
30.
30.
That's the cover.
Zan is the wall.
He's just standing in front, super stealthy, in front of everybody like this. Pay no attention to everyone else.
So, we've got a 30, we've got two 20s, a 10 and 11 and 11.
You guys all forgot Sam was here.
Yeah. Who?
I'm gonna make a roll. Let's see what happens. Okay. So there's a tense moment as Zan, Issa, and Leosin just kind of like leans back up against, but then there's like scraping of Loretta against the stone, and then and then Val is like shh, and Aaric is like what? And you guys are kind of making a little bit of noise, but then there is like a yell that comes from down the road, and it's further into the Cobbler's port. The guards that are walking by the alley that you were going in, they kind of like had begun to turn, but rolled a 3. And so they had begun to turn to look and see what was making the scraping noise when there's a yell on the other side, and then they both look at each other and then start heading down that way. And Leosin is just kind of like, let's do better next time, shall we? All right.
Clunk, clunk, clunk. His heavy armor he's wearing.
With only a few minutes later, you turn the corner and you are able to see the Mermaid's Rest Inn. Is a you don't. It would be easy to miss if you didn't know like what to look for, but Aaric knows, as does Leosin. So the folks that are leading you there. And you head up to the front, Does it have a little thing on the outside? I don't think it does say that.
For a sign?
Yeah.
Yeah, it would have a sign. It would have a sign on it.
So you head up, and it's just kind of packed into some other buildings there, and it's busy enough. There are people, so when you open up the door, nobody really, like a couple people look over to see if it's anybody that they know, but nobody's really
Inside.
Yeah. So you walk into the building. It's a pretty small inn. The ground floor has a reception style area with a small bar and common eating and living area. And then when you look up, there is there's stairs that lead up to a second floor that looks like it has rooms for rent. In the bar area, all of the furnishings are made of wood, and they look like they've been very well cared for and crafted, perhaps even by the people who work here. And you can see immediately, Aaric, you recognize the proprietors of this establishment, Bennett. Fernsby, or Benny, is an older woman, human, probably in her 70s or so, right? Who has, let's see, I don't have that. Who has, short gray hair and these bright blue eyes, and she's smiling at the bar and talking, and you can see next to her is her husband, Adson, who is also approximately the same age. And he's kind of hunched over a little bit, and they're chatting and talking to a couple of patrons that are there. When you turn, Leosin just kind of looks at you and, just nods to you all and is like, good luck, and then heads out.
Just the glamour that...
So you stand within the Mermaid's Rest. What are you doing?
How many people are there?
12.
Besides the two.
It's about 12 people, like a dozen people or so in there. They're talking
Are
to...
there any tables that are...
Yeah. So there's a couple people at the bar, and then there are some at the tables, and some that are just kind of standing up, chatting with each other over in a corner. It's not overly... I mean, there's people there, but it's
it's not like a bumping joint.
No.
What's the dress here? Is everybody as shady and mud covered as we are still, or is
not shady, but you are in the Cobbler's Port, which is it's not the most luxurious port in the city, or a district of the city.
It's definitely a nice place. All the wood that she was just talking about is actually driftwood, so the whole place is made of driftwood. But it's like a middle class joint in a lower class spot.
So 3 hood-covered people, one covered in horse muck.
Horse muck?
You pick up muck from the road and you're like, it's horse muck.
I didn't rub it all in my head. I just did this a little bit, dirty myself up.
You were
Do we stick out here?
No.
Okay.
No, you don't stick out.
Even with hoods up?
No.
No.
Aric's gonna...
It's cold outside.
Yeah, he's gonna...
We're not outside.
Pick a table that isn't... like a corner table, one that's not particularly close to all other people. As if we're a group that wants to be road-weary travelers that want to be by ourselves.
Okay.
Chit-chat.
All right. So you head over to one of the tables, and you, looking over to the bar, you see Benny. She's chatting with the patron, and then she looks over at your table. Are you hiding your face at this point?
I am. I don't know or think anybody else is, but mine is. But is she coming over?
Not at this moment. She just kind of looks over, and then you see her whisper to. What are the rest of you doing, actually?
When we sit down, I take my hood off.
Okay. Ethan's gonna do the same.
Take his hood off as well. Now he no longer has blue hair, so.
Right. So Benny whispers to her husband, who kind of looks over at the table, and then he, squeezes her arm, and then goes over, and he's again has a little bit of a hunch on his back, but he's got a rag in his hand, and he comes over and is like, "What can I get for you?"
Aric's gonna reach into his... It's exactly what he's going to do, actually. He's going to reach into his pouch for a gold piece, 1 gold piece. He's going to just like slide it like, not doing this, but just slide it across like that onto the table and just say, whatever my friends here want. But making it obvious that it's him.
Alright.
And he'll probably just see with the hood, like his beard and stuff.
Okay. And Issa in that moment is like, wow, big spender. I'll take whatever your most expensive thing is. And Adson reaches down and he looks at all of you and then he like kind of rests his eyes on Aaric and takes the coin. Says, all right, I'll get you a pitcher for the table.
Thank you.
Turns around and goes back over to the bar. No one's really paying all that much attention, so you just watch him approach the bar. He leans down and whispers something to Benny as he then turns and like starts getting things ready. And you see her kind of like look over to the table, but then she like smiles like just a little bit, not like, but just
he's here.
just like a little,
Every other table in the place flips over and they've got crossbows.
She's got a little smile. And she's, you see a little bit of like that little dance that happens when people are trying to get something ready, and she ends up takes it from him and then heads over to the table with the cups and mugs and everything, and she puts it down on the table. She's like, welcome to the Mermaid's Rest.
Thank you.
How have you been?
I've been fine.
Good.
It's good to see you, Benny.
Oh.
It's good to see you too. I knew you'd come back.
I'll always come back.
So, what brings you here? You have a plan?
It's probably best to talk about that after you close.
We're open quite late these days. What I can do is give me a little bit and I'll get you downstairs.
Well, if you need to, we can rent a couple rooms for the night. Make sure it's that no one else is around.
I think going downstairs would be better.
Oh, okay.
Just give me a little bit. Anything else? Any other drinks? And Issa's like, is this the most expensive thing that you have? She's like, no, it's not. But I can get that for you. And it's going to be about 13 gold. And Issa's like, ow.
Be nice, Issa.
I'm always nice.
Be nicer.
And Benny heads back over to the bar. And you have a little bit of time where the two of them are, taking care of patrons, not making a big deal out of, the fact that you're here. Anything that you wanted to do during that time, or no?
Just eat and drink lightly. Aaric's not getting hammered or nothing like that.
Yeah. I would say about an hour or so goes by, and some of the patrons, it almost is like there's a shift change, and some of the patrons get up, and there's far fewer people. And the ones that are around now are just kind of getting pretty drunk in the space that they know their patronage at this point. And so when most of them kind of clear out, she comes over to the table and is like, if you would follow me, I'll bring you downstairs.
All right.
And as she walks by, there's a couple, one of the patrons looks up and she's like, our rat exterminators have come, and come, I'll bring you downstairs so you can see where the issue is. She just brings you over to
Just take out a dagger and go.
And Addison just kind of nods to you all as you head down and continues taking care of the people at the bar.
Just look at the guy. It was a big one.
That's perfect.
She brings you around to a door and unlocks it, and then starts walking down the stairs, and you end up going down into what seems to be just like a normal storage area. She has lanterns on the wall, so she just turns on those oil lamps as she goes down, and then you end up in this open storage that takes up almost the entire area of what the first floor would be. There are boxes and crates and whatnot, but it also, there's a little bit of an appearance of, while these are boxes, they're also kind of set up in a way that people are perhaps sitting on them frequently, set up like strategically around in the space. And she just said, like, close the door behind you. Whoever is the last one, whether it's Issa or whoever, closes the door.
Charlie.
And you all are down in this open area. And she turns around and she gives you a hug. Wraps her arms around
He's
and
gonna
just...
give her a big hug too, but like that hug you give to old people where
Yeah.
you like squeeze them tight, but like without popping their bones.
Yeah, right.
We all know that. We've
Yeah.
all hugged our
You're
grandma.
level 12. You gotta be careful with that strength.
Just kill her one shot. Oh.
Unarmed strength does a 28 hit.
And she like reaches up and
She
pats
says,
your...
no, it doesn't.
She's got a 30. So she reaches up and just pats your face.
At
She's
this
like,
point, he would have taken off his.
it's so good to see you. It's so good to see that you're alive. We were told that you had died, of course, but when I saw the posters, I knew. I knew all along, but I knew before.
I did die, but I've got friends to bring me back. These are good people. They're gonna help us.
Yes.
You can trust them.
Well, I assumed if they were with you then. So what happened? I mean, last I heard you had killed Hammond Amsel and run away, and, you know, Peter with his tall tales.
You know that wasn't me. To be completely honest, I'm not sure what happened to Lord Amsel. I assume it was Peter. It's the only one who really benefits.
Yeah.
I have nothing to gain. I was paid for my service, as terribly as that did turn out. If it wasn't for Peter, I'd already be home.
What happened down in the mere?
As far as the battle,
A horrible thing.
it was a mess. I sensed something wasn't right. The men, we were on the march. Amsel sent us to go take care of some attacks that were happening on farmland in the south. And there was a feeling in the air. I can't quite put my finger on it, but I just knew. I knew something was off. And I told Peter about it. I told him to halt the men, because he was supposed to be in control. This was his first outing as a commander. That's what I was teaching him to do, along with making soldiers out of the men and women of SeaHall. And we were attacked, and we weren't in position. Peter fled. When the soldiers saw Peter flee, they lost heart. I tried to get everyone to regroup, but there were just all goblins and all sorts of terrible things just pouring out of the ground, pouring out of the holes that they must have dug tunnels. I don't know if they dug them just under that field for us or if they were borrowing from the mirror itself. I'm not really sure, but small pockets of people fighting, trying to make their way together, but it was a slaughter. Nobody was in position. It was a bad day.
Sounds horrible.
It was. And not just for me or the people that had fallen that day, but for every mother and father and sister, brother, child of SeaHall, anybody who lost someone or anybody who was left on that field to die.
Yeah. Quite a few of our neighbors and friends. It was very bad. It has not gotten any better. since you left.
I did what I could at the time. I had no idea that. As he coughs in poor Benny's face. I had
Cover it, dear. Cover it.
She puts her hands up. I had no idea any of this would happen. I figured if I had removed myself from the situation, maybe he would settle into some kind of a sensible situation. But there's been talks of monsters within the walls,
Yes.
a fiend or fiends of some kind.
He has made deals with forces beyond my understanding, and people with black robes and
We know them.
dragons' emblems.
The cult of the dragon. We've fought them many times before. There's
And then all these military folk from out of our city. It's been quite the change, and no one blames you. You were not from here. This isn't your responsibility.
I still feel like it is. I should have done more. Although he was in command, those were my men and women on that field.
There's only so much you can do when you are not the leader. Well, there's been a lot of change. There have been horrible things happening here. But we have also started a resistance. There was an attempt, when it was clear that you had been killed. There was an uprising, but more anger than organization, and that's when the fiend that you mentioned, I did see it. It was horrific, but many chains flying around, people torn in half. It was very big, and it stood up on the summer holdfast and just slaughtered people in the courtyard. It could reach far, and no one stood a chance. Not many were killed, but enough that things got quiet. And now if anyone speaks out, even their families are not safe from Peter's vengeance.
The last thing I want is more people dying, especially in my name. But something needs to be done. I think something I should have done long ago, but it wasn't the time. Peter needs to go. There's something else you should know, that as far as I know, you know nothing of magic or the weave, as they call it. Right?
I know of it.
But you don't have a connection to it.
Not any more than, sometimes we get a drift globe here and there we can turn on, but
They won't work now. I don't know if you've heard.
no, they won't.
Okay, so I just wanted to see if Benny knew, if this was like a big thing that everyone knew.
And how long has it been like that?
There was a change maybe 6 or 7 days past, nearly a week. And suddenly there was a shift, and the mercenary groups that had been wandering our streets just up and left. But the ones in black, the cult in black, they have continued coming in and out of the city bringing items and goods, but the magic stopped.
Does anyone in this resistance know the source of this ward?
As far as we're aware, any changes that have happened in our city have come straight from the summer holdfast. That is where Peter is.
You have no one on the inside.
No, it's impossible to get in.
Hmm.
It's... I have been hosting the resistance here.
It's brave of you.
Yeah, this isn't right, and it's where my family is as well, and I worry about my daughter. And Dara has become the leader of the new order, and she's different now. And
Different how?
she doesn't seem to know reason anymore. I used to be able to speak to her about the things that we saw, and she had an insider view, and she would have concerns, and she would bring them to me, but she doesn't any longer. There is nothing that she has seen that seems to trouble her. Even when families are torn out of their homes and strung up over the wall, it's the duty. And I can't trust to speak to her anymore. I haven't spoken to her in a couple of months, in a real way. She comes in now and again and visits, but there's just something different. It's like she's not my daughter anymore.
Like she's been taken over by something?
I don't know.
I know this woman. She's smart, resourceful,
That hasn't changed.
and she knows her duty. That bothers me. It's troubling.
If there's a magical ward over the city, she can't be possessed.
Maybe, maybe not. We're dealing with things here that I've never seen before. We'll have to find out. There's also other things.
Have you noticed a change in anyone else?
In anyone else or anything?
Anyone else that is maybe acting different, out of character than you're used to?
Anyone who was once just about, but then joined that new order, they have been different. It's as if their loyalties are to Peter himself, not the people, not SeaHall.
Maybe it has something to do with the fiend. Another deal made by Peter to this fiend.
Some form of hypnosis or mind control, possibly.
It's something. There's something else that you should know. As you know of the cult. Do you know of the cult's plans? I'm not sure how much. I know SeaHall here has been locked away from a lot of the rest of the Sword Coast.
We're not privy to their plans per se, but you would have to be daft not to understand. There are dragons flying. There are dragon masks on these individuals, and once the magic stopped, there was an uptick in practical weaponry being manufactured. All of the blacksmiths, all of the armorers, all of the Fletchers, they're all tasked with creating. And then those things are being removed from the city. And so while I don't know exactly what they're trying to do, we're mostly cut off from Waterdeep and from Neverwinter. All of the trade is done through the port. I would assume there's some kind of military function.
They're trying to raise the Queen of Dragons, Tiamat.
It seems like a mighty task.
And it is. We've been trying to stop them every step of the way, but they're closer than we like. So,
That's disheartening.
just there's larger forces at play with this cult. I'm not sure why they've aligned with Peter, but
Do the other leaders know of this cult? Neverwinter, Waterdeep?
oh yes,
And why have they sent no one here? They've left us here on our own.
I believe they've tried.
I see nothing to suggest that they've tried.
The cult is using this as a stronghold. It's not an easy matter just getting us in here.
Mm.
And it's happening all over the Sword Coast, not just in the major cities. Everywhere. Hamlets, villages, razed to the ground, nothing but smoldering rubble.
Mm.
The second time we were attacked and almost died, we were attacked in the heart of Waterdeep. Their grasp is far and wide.
I see. At that point, you hear like 3 raps on the door that you had come up. It was just, and Benny just stops and she says, "Oh, we do, as I mentioned, we host the resistance here, so that will be one of the first. Typically, they don't all come together, obviously. And let me go bring them down." And she heads up the stairs.
So Aaric's gonna scoot off to the side, throw that hood back on.
Okay.
Well, for all I know, it's gonna be like a guard. He just comes, you know.
You hear the door open, and then a little whisper, and then the door closes, and you can hear 2 sets of footsteps coming down the stairs, and you see a human male, about middle-aged, brown hair, comes down wearing fairly clean and respectable kind of commoner clothing. They head down, and nothing overly crazy about this person, just kind of your run-of-the-mill human man. And Benny steps out and she says, "Everyone, this is Nathan Rivermantle. He's a local doctor and one of the representatives of the resistance." And Nathan, kind of eyes narrowed, he looks at Benny and is like, "And these folks would be..." And she looks at him and then looks over at you. She's like, "This is Aaric Firesong."
I gotta imagine her she does a little, what is that, the little heel flip thing?
Little kick.
And he looks over at you and is like, "Oh, I would not have expected to see you here. Interesting."
Doesn't sound very happy.
Shorter than I expected.
Aren't you supposed to be dead?
Are you here to join the resistance or lead it?
I'm here to do what's necessary, one way or the other. Whether it's join, lead, doesn't matter to me.
He looks at Benny and she looks at him, and she says, "Well, the others should be arriving soon. Perhaps you can catch him up on what's been going on." And Nathan just goes over and sits down on one of the boxes and just looks at all of you. And Benny's like, "I'll send the others down when they get here." And she heads up. So now you're awkwardly in this basement with this human man who's just kind of looking at all of you. Well, this is the resistance.
It's quaint.
We've been trying to set things right ever since the failed uprising several months back. Slow going. Nobody expected you to come back.
I ran away once.
Yeah, you did.
Thinking that would make things better. And I was wrong. I thought if I was gone, he'd see sense and do what was right for his people. Even if he is petty. No idea he would do this.
Yeah. Well, we've been coming up with a plan. I'll wait until the others arrive to go through it. I don't want to speak for any of them.
Of course.
What can you tell us of the city before they get here?
Things have gotten bad. The new order is pretty ruthless. I'm a doctor. I study traditional medicines, no magic. So my trade has not been hurt these past 7-8 days. But they're pretty brutal. It's hard when they come from all around. So, we've been trying to keep our heads down and do what we can.
Did you witness this fiend during the failed uprising?
No, I wasn't out there that day. Even before the uprising, there had been quite an increase in people needing medical attention. So, I find myself quite busy.
How strong is this resistance? How many bodies?
We don't like to measure in bodies, per se.
So not many.
If we can get the idea out there, that's what we're focusing on. You have to have an end game before you rise up. Let's say we take down Peter and Fallon. Then what? If you don't have a plan for what happens right after, immediately after, then everything goes to shit. So that's what we're planning. We have to all be on the same page. It's tougher than you think.
Politics always are.
Yeah.
Are you planning to have anyone infiltrate the higher levels of the organization there?
That is a tough one. You hear 4 on the door, and then the steps come down, and there is a younger halfling female who comes down. She smells like that. She smells like the port that you had just come through and like come around. She smells like fish. She smells like seawater, but also like BO, and like she just came from work. Like she has been working hard all day, and she comes down, and she's young. Young, like halflings live a little bit longer than like humans, for example, but she's probably like comparatively like Avadon's age-ish, and she comes down. Her hair is like up in a tight ponytail up at the top of her head, and she's wearing like overalls and like fishmonger type clothing. And she comes down. She's like, "What the fuck? Who the fuck is all this?" And Nathan's like, "All right, just calm down. Come sit down." And she walks down, like kind of looking at all of you, like, but looking up, obviously. She just comes over, looks over at Issa, sits down. Issa's like, "Hey."
Hey girl, hey.
You got one that doesn't smell?
I'm your replacement.
Nathan looks at you all. He's like, "This is Belle." She's like, "You giving people my fucking name? What the fuck, man?" And he's like, "This is Aaric Firesong." And then she looks over at you, and she goes, "You motherfucker."
Do this.
She's like, "How fucking dare you? Show me your hand. Let me see it." It really fucking is him. Clearly nobody else could have a finger missing from their left hand. It's gotta be Aaric Firesong. And Nathan's like, "All right, listen."
I love halflings.
She's like, "So, you show your face around here again. That's pretty brave. This time. What are we listening to him for? What is he even here for?" And Nathan's like, "I don't really know. We're just getting started. I wanted to wait for you and Ola to come, so let's hold on." And she like kind of stomps over to a side corner and she just like sits down on one of the things looking at all of you. Like, I don't know what the fuck this is, but I don't like it. I don't like it. Now we've got a whole bunch of people in here. They know where our resistance is. And Nate's like, all right.
Nathan needs to give her some of that weed that he's on.
We're here to do what we can to help.
Yeah. The guy who runs away comes back saying he's gonna help. All right. I think I need Benny to bring me something to drink.
Is Benny's not down there, is
No,
she?
she just says it, and now there's like an awkward silence. Nathan is just like, and then you have several minutes of awkward silence before there's another knock on the door. It's only 2 this time, and then you hear heavy footsteps that come down. And Aaric, immediately you, like looking over, you notice and recognize Ola Shak, the trades keeper of the town, the goods store, who, the bronzed cock. And she comes down the stairs, like
that's
heavy.
right. I didn't even fucking store the city that they called the bronze cock. Yep.
She comes down the stairs and then she like looks around and she's like, oh. Wow. Lots of people tonight. And then like as she's scanning the room and she sees you, she's like, oh. And then comes down and walks right up to you kind of, and then just does the like, puts her hand out to do the arm shake. She's like, all right.
It's good to see you.
Yeah. She pulls you up and then gives you a hug.
Is she a really tall human? Or
She's an orc, sorry.
Okay.
Orcish. She's an orc.
Orc with her tusks are actually black too.
Very, big half orc here. And yeah, she just like leans back kind of looking at you, and you see Belle, the one who's introduced as Belle, is like, so you're friends. Even better. Your friend ran away, your friend came back, and Ola just looks over and is like, all right, Lauren, shut the fuck up. And Nathan looks at all of you and is like, this is
for her trail mix.
who, Belle?
The loud halfling.
Yeah.
What did she call them?
Lauren.
Was that her last name?
No, I mean, you don't know. She just says Lauren. They've been calling her Belle, so. So they kind of all sit just like,
calling someone a herb.
what are you,
Remember that was big for a while? It's like, all right, herb.
what are you doing? What are you doing here? Yeah.
We're here to do what we can to help. To take down Peter and help everybody of SeaHall.
All right. Well, that's a good start. Well, welcome to the Resistance. And she looks at Nathan and she looks at Beloran and she's like, this is it. I mean, the leaders of it.
Okay.
And Nathan is like, yeah, this is pretty much it. We've got people, but we needed to... Here, everybody sit down. And Nathan goes in and explains to you all that what they've done is they have split the districts among the 3 of them. And through chatting with people, not just deciding this on their own. Nathan represents Summertown and the Sunhorn district. Beloran is representing the Cobbler's Port, Breadport, and Murky Mill.
Sorry, hold on. So,
Okay.
can you start that?
Nathan represents Summertown and the Sunhorn.
Sunhorn.
And Beloran is, Beloran Longflower is representing, because she's a dock worker, she's representing the Cobbler's Port, the Breadport, and the Murky Mill. And even though they're not necessarily close to one another, Ola Shak Graknar has been tasked with representing the North Ward, and the Spice Walk. There's a little bit that's kind of like unrepresented, but it's almost intentional. There's not really. They need to get these other folks on board. That's where the fight will be. Like, there's nobody really to represent in the Green Ward, for example. Exactly, the Green. They explain too that the plan as it stands is to overthrow Peter and Thalon, and that they're going to install a new council-run government. That they will represent the 3 sections, and if it needs to grow or they need to add some more council people, they can do that. But to start off, after they kill him or just get him out of there, it will be a council-led government, and they're just struggling with how to get rid of the problem because all of the people that could help have been tasked with creating things for the cult. So it's been difficult. They've been getting some folks, Alina, I believe was one of the names. Aline.
Or Aileen. I don't know.
To like kind of hide some things that they make, like other folks as well, stockpiling things on the side, but they can only do so much. And so what they've been struggling with, and as you're sitting there, Ola at one point, Ola Shock, she just kind of looks over at all of you and is like, this is actually great. This is great because our problem has been that we can't get to them. It's the biggest problem, besides coming up with what happens after, but can't get to them. But maybe you could.
Just not sure how. By all accounts, he's locked up in his holdfast, summer holdfast, with no way in or out.
Well, you see Ola and Nathan, they kind of look at each other, and then they look over at Belle, and she's just like, this is putting a lot of eggs in one basket. I'm just saying, he ran once before. Who's to say he doesn't run again? He's already gone. You gonna put all your trust in this guy? And Nathan is like, well, we don't really have... And look, these folks are all very well armored and weaponized.
You have my word that I will either free this city or I will die trying. I will not run. I ran because I thought it was what would be best for people. Had I known that he had made a deal with whatever he had made deals with, I wouldn't have gone in the first place. I would have stayed and I would have probably killed him right on the spot. But that's not what happened, and that's why we're here now.
Well, I hope you guys have someone else doing the thinking for you. Not this one. Who's your thinker? Isa's like, yeah, well, no one's stopping me, so I'm gonna say I'm the thinker. And
I was gonna take his 4-fingered hand and just go, damn it.
Val is like, I'm
new to the group.
I hope you're a better thinker than this one. He thought, he ran,
We work together. We come up with plans together.
So you all thinking?
It's gotten us this far.
She has since gotten a drink somehow, so she's happy with her drink.
So we need to get to them. This Lord is not himself specifically a threat from what you have said physically. It's the creature that protects him.
That's the way it was. He was not an especially skilled swordsman or a leader, although I tried. But he may have made deals. I can't be sure.
We must knock out the magical ward and the creature that slaughtered all these folk.
That would be our first task.
And prevent him from escaping while we do this.
That would be the second task. But first we need a way in.
I think we might be looking at it.
Nathan just kind of like
You the bait. You the bait.
he leans
That's
in.
bait.
He leans in and looks at all of you, and you can see the three of them kind of doing that, like they know something, eye exchange. And he's like, we got a way in. Just give it a few more minutes.
To the toilet.
Maybe.
Like, I'm not opposed to that. Just don't like it.
We don't keep track. So as you like awkwardly again, there's a lot of awkward silences as you're sitting there like.
A lot of awkwardnesses and
Benny
secret
comes-
resistances.
Yeah, Benny comes down at a certain point. She's got food and some more drinks, and she kind of leans in at one point too, and she's like, "How's it going?"
Certainly going.
Yeah, it looks that way. They mean well. They really do.
I can tell.
All right, I'm gonna go get some more. Addison will probably come down. He really wants to see you. So, okay. And she goes up the stairs. A few more minutes pass, and then there's no knock this time, but the door opens. You hear the door open up at the top, and Nathan just does that like knowing eye contact with you all, and like leans down as a figure begins to walk down the steps. Super thin. As they come down the stairs and turn, you can see even with all the clothing that they're wearing, it is like almost like a skeleton walking, how thin this person is. And as they pull the hood down, there's no recognition, and yet at the same time for you there is. You see a human woman in her 50s, maybe. She's got red hair, but like white and gray has taken over almost all of it, and it's down in a braid that kind of hangs over the side. Her face is so like gaunt that it looks like she's going to. You're like, how is this person standing? They are so skinny. She's wearing these spectacles that are gold rimmed, and then jewelry. And when she comes down, you can see the robe, the hooded cloak that she's wearing is very, very boring and plain and nothing to see here. But underneath, you can catch glimpses of very ornately decorated and embroidered, like a dress of blues and golds and whatnot. And as she comes down, her neck's super thin. She doesn't even look surprised to see any of you. And as she's descending the stairs, you see Nathan, Olashak, and Baloran. They all stand up. And then as she comes down, they like do a little bow. And you hear Nathan say, Lady Amsel, as she has come down the stairs and looks at all of you. And then she looks at you.
When he hears that, Aaric's gonna bow with his hand clenched over his heart.
And she says, Aaric Firesong, alive and well.
Alive. And trying.
She goes over and she just kind of sits down on one of the crates in the room.
So Aaric will like take her hand and like.
And she will accept it even though she doesn't need it.
Yeah.
She
But you
does
know that like that
she
that
does
thing
the,
you do.
the
for-
thing you do where she sits down, and looks at all of you. And Nathan says, "So this is our way in." And Lady Amsel scans the room. She does a little like she has this like little cough here and there as she's talking, but she says, "Yes, I've been speaking with this resistance quite some time, waiting for a spark of bravery to walk through the door.
You're looking at it.
You realize the end game here, right?
Peter is my son, and I love him very much. Something has changed in him. I know people believe me to have... People believe that I am mad, and perhaps they're not wrong. But Peter was not always this way. Something changed a few years back. He was a very sweet boy. Hammond was a little bit hard on him, but he loved him very much. But something changed. It's when I began to hear the voices and when I began to have the dreams of being chained, of being lashed. And I still have them. Of binding my stomach, of binding my arms, my legs, holding me down. So I couldn't run to him when he was crying for me. Anyway.
Invisible, we are all bound. Those are the words that you spoke to me before I had left.
Yes?
Had I known, I never would have. I'm sorry that this happened.
It's not your city.
No,
You're a
but
guest.
I had a certain responsibility. I did not realize... I didn't see all the pieces of the puzzle at the time. But now I see them clearly.
It came to me well over a year ago that Fallon was a demon of sorts, a devil, that is where my nightmares were coming from. And it knew it. And that is when it began to ramp up its attacks on me mentally, keeping me weak and making it seem as though I was not one to be listened to. Hammond wouldn't listen, and neither did Peter. I was roaming the halls trying to escape. But it's Fallon that's the demon. I've seen Peter in these recent months whisper into a box. And when he does, gems and coin and gold and silver flows freely from it. Whatever he can imagine, it comes.
A box, you say?
Yes, a box, like any other. Yay big. And Fallon is by his side and whispers in his ear as he does so. And they are able to pay all of these strangers that have come into our city and joined this new order. And when they come in, they sign a contract to join our army. And they get paid. And I've watched them sign. Not all of them, but some. And something changes when they do. They are joining an army. But I don't think it is SeaHall's.
They've made a literal deal with the devil. Have you been able to read one of these contracts?
No. Fallon is personally available to ensure that each conscript signs. And when he sees me, he makes sure that all I see are chains and nightmares.
And yet you have free access to the keep.
I do.
How close can you get to your son?
These days, not very. I have not seen him in many days. ever since the mercenaries left. And I have free roam of the keep, but they don't know that I leave. But I can get you in.
How well guarded is the keep inside?
Very.
Your son, does he have personal guards or just Thalon?
I would say that Thalon has personal guards. I don't believe that it cares for my son.
Do you know where the magical ward is?
No.
If we were to kill this Thalon, this devil, do you think Peter would go back to being your sweet boy?
What do I know about chain devils? Like, can I roll an Arcana on that?
You can... Yeah, don't you have a thing about fiends, or no? Oh, wait, these aren't fiends, these are...
Faith, I get an advantage in Arcana rolling information about faith, fiends, or undead.
Yeah, you can roll.
Oh, baby! Don't fuck me over. That's good, because that one was a 1. 23.
Okay. So, you know that,
Not knowing the specific devil itself, but knowing that it's some sort of chain devil. I guess.
yeah,
Aaric
you...
would tell you from his reading that it's got to be a chain devil.
Yeah, you know that chain devils animate chains around them. They are typically, they love to torture. That's what they get their joy from. They are like jailers typically as well. They spend a lot of their time torturing within the infernal realm itself. They relish in pain and inflicting, harm on people. They, just like any other kind of devils, the goal is to get as many souls as you can and move up the ranks. And at least from what you're hearing here, that's a pretty solid way.
Yeah, he's fucking making pay dirt.
But also, you know that any contracts that are signed are by extension signed with Asmodeus himself all the way up. Like any deal you make with the devil, at the end of the chain is the leader of the 9 hells, and you can definitely try to fight against a contract if you have a good lawyer, and maybe you can get out of whatever thing that you have signed, but you would have to know that you've signed a contract in a general
But the contract
sense.
doesn't end if you kill the devil.
It does not.
And do I know with that role, how to fight them, their weaknesses?
So with them being a devil, you know that fire's not going to do much. But in general, they don't have that many. They're a decent foe. You know that if you kill a devil on this plane, it just goes back to its plane and reforms and maybe comes back. But no. Given what is happening between the 9 hells and Tiamat being risen, it's a little bit difficult for you to know what kind of extras Zariel, the current jailer of Tiamat, who seems to want to help get her out because she doesn't want to deal with her. You don't know what kind of boons that she's been giving to folks to allow them to help her get Tiamat out of hell.
Alright. Let's hope shoot him in the eye.
There's no big glowing blue spots. It's a devil. When she said it's a good foe, she means it's strong as hell.
So we may have problem on two folds. Killing the devil may release its hold on this city, but not those people. That would explain the change in certain people's mentality.
How many lawyers are in the city?
That I don't know.
We need one of those contracts. Aaric's gonna pull out his book.
We can help free the city, but it won't end with us killing Thalen. There's more that will have to be done here after.
Nathan speaks up at that point. He's like, well, you know, I feel like if the people can... If there's no leader, then what good is the contract? If they're, you know, beholden to a demon or a devil or whatever that's not even here, maybe they go where that devil goes.
They'd have to go to hell.
They'd have to die first. They'd probably live some kind of a life, and then when they die, they would go to hell, according to my reading. Unless we get a copy of the contract. If we can get a copy of the contract, we can read it. And if we read it, we might be able to find what my reading tells would be a loophole. And then you can renegotiate with the devil.
It's usually very hard to find a loophole in a fiend's contract.
It's very hard to imagine that this many people would willingly sign their souls over for 25 gold. Times are tough. Not that tough.
They're signing it for they don't know that their souls are being signed away.
That's
sure.
my point. If they don't know, then you're signing a contract. I would have to believe that you would have to know what you're signing. The book that I have, and again he's going to take the book, speaks of it. Loopholes in contracts.
It's worth a shot.
It's worth a shot. I mean, the last thing I want to do, and he's going to look at Lady Amsel, is consign hundreds or thousands of people to the pit of hell unknowingly by their own design. If that is the way that it has to be, then I'll do what's necessary, but I want to avoid that if I can.
You see, as you're talking to her, she's looking at you, but then it's like she's just not. She's like looking past you for a moment, and then she's like, I'm sorry,
Are you alright?
Yes, I'm fine. I've seen the contracts being signed, and what I can tell you of many of these people is that they can't even read. They're signing, but they can't even read.
I don't mean to like smile like that. I'm just like, I figured something out. Yeah, I feel like that happened earlier where you said something and I was like, like I get giddy because I'm like, yay! Like all my notes that look like a madman scrawling with like the red yarn and the tacks like at my house. Like it's all coming together. I'm not crazy like what she thought. I have the same feeling. But she's like, some people think me mad. I'm like, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
If they can't read, that means they don't know what they're signing. And if they don't know what they're signing, then that contract means nothing.
Maybe. Like you said,
Maybe.
we need the contracts.
Regardless, we still need to get close.
Nay.
Do you think you can get us into the keep?
I can get you in.
Perhaps we dress as guards?
How would you get us in, Lady Amsel?
You're not going to like it, but I can get you in. Through the servants' entrance. In the back.
Through the toilet.
We've done worse.
But there are guards everywhere. I can open the door, I can let you in, but I cannot say that the journey at that point will not be extremely difficult. You'll have to come in from the bottom floor and then work your way to the ground floor.
Do you have detailed knowledge of the inside of this keep?
I've only been inside the keep a few times. I've never been through any of the kitchens or servants' ways. I've been through some halls, the throne room, Amsel's like not dining room, but like a small private area, I think, where I spoke to him. So some areas, yes, but I've only been in a handful of times. But
It's not a maze by any stretch of the imagination, but there are many of the New Order, especially since what happened.
is the cult using Summer Holdfast as a stronghold itself? Do they have a presence inside?
They do not. It's as if Fallon has chosen that to be his throne. They can move freely throughout the city, but they also seem to have no real interest. They are gathering arms.
Well, that knocks one thing off the list for us then. We don't have to worry about the cult inside the tower.
You still have to worry about patrols.
Of course.
Without magic, it'll be much difficult. That's poor grammar. I'm losing my accent.
It's a blessing and a curse. We don't have magic, but I believe that would also make them play by the same rules. They must not either. The only one that may would be the one who's most likely causing this is Fallon himself.
That's why we must knock out the ward before we make any move on him.
I'm hoping that it's some sort of a... I've seen you all do it before, when you have to concentrate hard on your spells. And once that concentration is shaken...
This is too
decide
large.
It wouldn't be controlled by a being.
Be an object.
Object of some kind, some type
Something.
of ritual, something.
We get in, we find it, we shut it down, and then we find Fallon. Or rather, he'll probably find us after that. But
Yeah.
first step first is we have to get inside.
Of this Peter, if we are able to null the contract signed by all those, presumably himself included, do you
Pete-
still seek retribution if it was not his free will?
Peter is a well-read man. He was raised inside here by smart people, some of the best teachers in the Sword Coast. He knew what he was doing. No offense, Liddy. I don't want to seek his death. I'm not sure how far gone he was at the time, how influenced he was.
Then we capture him, present him to the people.
I would think so. The people should decide his fate, and he'll look over at the three. That's if we can capture him.
What you
Yes.
told me that day at battle, he willingly left. At the very least, he needs to answer for that.
Exactly.
The halfling dock worker is like, I say you fucking kill him. Put him out of his misery. No offense. And she just kind of halfway nods. But at the same time, you look at Lady Amsel and she's again just kind of staring off into nothing.
He's gonna take her. I'll take her hand.
And she comes back. It's like, just looking at everyone and smiles a little bit.
Are you sure you're feeling well?
No, I'm fine. Yes.
You're just a little distant for a moment. Does that happen often?
Sadly, yes, it does. So I can get you in.
Okay.
I think we go in.
Tonight?
Unless you need rest.
Yes.
We're not. Don't have any points of exhaustion.
No,
from
you've been
the
able
fly,
to like
right?
sleep. Yeah, when you were
Yeah.
at your
Whoever you have, tell your people.
If they can cause any kind of distraction, perhaps maybe even get some of the guard out of the keep, or just keep more from coming to the keep. Doesn't have to be fights, just something in order to draw them away.
She's gonna look at the other three that are in the room, and Ola Shock is gonna look at Baloran. Like, this is your forte. And Belle looks at all of you, the halfling, and she's like, fuck. Alright, I'll go rustle up some guys. Where are you going? You're going to the back.
Like the attitude she has. Yeah, I'll go rustle up some dirt bags.
Like, well, you can't count on this guy over here to do jack shit. And Nathan's like, alright, listen. I'm a medicine man. And she's like, I'll be back. Let me go, get some guys. I mean, I'll get some folks. And we'll meet you upstairs.
Picturing her going up the stairs, grabbing a bottle and shoving a rag in it. God damn it.
I know, that's what I was thinking. I was going to say fire makes a hell of a distraction.
She heads up the stairs, and as Nathan looks at you all right. It'll go a long way to, I think, getting her back on your, get you on her good side.
I don't blame her for feeling the way she does about me.
She's not the only one. I just to let you know, no surprises.
I understand.
There's a whole mess of people.
Hopefully, tonight will go a long way in setting things right.
A lot of folks hanging over that wall that blamed you. Their families blame you. Yeah.
I have friends myself on that wall.
Yeah, as do we all.
One way or another, Fallon and Peter Ramsell will pay for these crimes.
I hope so. And Lady Emmeline just kind of quietly sitting there, looking like a skeleton walking, just sitting there, spacing out again for the third time. And that is where we will stop, as you all are prepped and getting ready to go into SeaHall Summer Holdfast.
We're gonna fucking have to Mission Impossible into a devil's fucking tower.
Even if we had magic, like, we don't have anyone to cast Pass Without a Trace.
Yep. All right, so we are gonna find someone to raid. I think.
We're definitely gonna have to pull a Star Wars and just like take
That's
some trooper armor.
That's what I was
guards.
thinking when I said go in and shut the thing down. I was thinking like fucking thermal exhaust or shutting down the shield,
So we are going to raid Quincy's Tavern because why not?
Oh,
Everybody
yeah.
loves Quincy. So Quincy is doing Stardew Valley. It's Cozy Sunday Stardew Valley. Stardewing. And we will go ahead and raid over there. Thanks for hanging out. Next week we're down at
Oh no.
an Orwell. So we'll see how that goes. But now we've got your character sheet.
You've got my husk.
We just
Beer.
just do a side flash.
Make a backup character just in case.
And so we will be raiding Quincy's Tavern. We are also going to go jump over to our Discord and do some Stars and Wishes and let our babysitters know that they don't have to stay unless they really, really want to. And we'll be back tomorrow with some Midnight Monday, fingers crossed, as long as we have enough players for our company retreat is the game of tomorrow. And then
Game of tomorrow.
the game of tomorrow. And then Tuesday we've got some painting with Trilaterum Tim. And then Thursday we have painting with Chambers and some DM prep where I'm going to try to maybe do a little build actually in here. So, alright, let's go raid and thank you all so much for hanging out.
Thank you. You guys are all awesome.
Good luck.